Hawkeye's here. Ready? Good. Shooter's down. Are we good to move? We're clear. Let's move. We're clear. Come on. Let me get my shoes. I got you, sir. I got you. Let me get my shoes. Hold on in your head. Bloody. So we gotta move to the bus. Let me get my shoes. Okay. Watch out.
Again, so can everyone else.
And watch and listen to the rally, right? We couldn't see them, but we could hear them. So we walked up, and probably 5 to 7 minutes of Trump speaking. I'm estimating here. I have no idea, you know. But we noticed the guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, you know, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle.
A rifle.
We could clearly see him with a rifle, absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle.
What were you doing before the shooting happened, and then what did you see and hear?
I was just standing there like everybody else, waiting for Trump. And as Trump started, I noticed 2 officers that were looking for something or somebody. I was looking around myself and seeing a guy on top of one of the buildings go in between one building to the next, and went and told the officer that he was up there. And when I went back to my spot, I heard that people could still see the person from where they were standing. So I checked that out, and I went back to tell the officer that if he came over there, he could see them. And when I turned my back is when the shots started.
I saw Trump rising up, and then I saw an attempt on his life. This bullet flew by his ear, and it came so close to his head that it busted his eardrum.
On what the Secret Service knew about the shooter minutes before Donald Trump took the stage.
And they still allowed him to walk onto that stage. I'm told the Secret Service agent in charge there was on the phone with local and state police about the threat while the shooting was taking place. That's huge. And that is raising a lot of concerns and now major calls for the director of the Secret Service to step down immediately.
Listen to me very carefully. I have told you for months on air they're going to try to kill Trump. And they also will try to kill Biden and blame it on a Trump supporter. That's coming next. Make no mistake, the same deep state that's behind Biden, that's trying to make him step down, was behind this today. They're now reporting it was an Antifa shooter who's now been killed. How convenient is that the supposed shooter has been killed? And I've noticed with all the viral videos out there, it's like, oh, he took a bullet for America. He's going to get reelected now. Ladies and gentlemen, the deep state did this, make no mistake. And that lets you know they're going for broke. Do you fucking understand what I'm telling you?
Jack Burns, the co-founder of the Patriot think tank, is making a return for the evening. He's coming special guest style to our show tonight. We will also be showing the Trump speech live, so if you're with us at that point, you can watch it here. And we're going to have a good discussion about all this assassination stuff. Tons to talk about. Let's get ready. Let's get into it.
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
I don't want you to write. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the streets. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad.
Is the whole world gone crazy? Am I the only one around here who gives a shit about the rule?
You have the luxury of not knowing what I know.
I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!
All right, everybody. Welcome back to another live. And guess who we have back on board today? Jack Burns, co-founder of the Patriot think tank. If you've followed us from the beginning, you know Jack very well. Or if you so Jack, welcome back to the broadcast. I'm still messing around with some chat features here, but a lot's happened since you were last on.
Yeah, a lot's happened since the last 2 weeks.
For sure. Yeah. And it's been a pretty wild run we've had here, man. And you know, I mean, were you shocked, right, that this happened? I would have to assume no.
Well, I would say yes and no. In the big picture, am I shocked? No. In the moment, yeah. I was standing talking with somebody, and someone said, "Someone just shot at Trump," and so there was that moment of shock, and it's like, "Oh my God," right? But I mean, Tucker. I think Tucker's the one that called it. They went after him personally. They went after him legally. There was nothing left to do.
And that's it, right? And that's the thing. Tucker did call it out, and he called it out. Everyone was calling Tucker like, he's out of his mind. What is he thinking? Like, this can't, why would he say something like that? And then meanwhile, it's friggin' it's unreal. It's really just unreal how the whole thing went down. And I went into it last week about the different issues with the way, how close it was, with the fact that how he just turned his head. And I don't know if you saw. I know you weren't watching last week because we both had the same concern, and you didn't know I had it. So, but with that lady screaming, and we can get into that in a minute too. But like, as far as like how subtle the head turn was, like he turned his head, but then he still would have just taken it in the forehead if you didn't just turn it a little bit more. At that exact moment, it was like wild, and I still have the clip, and we can get into that. I'm having issues with the chat on stream. The only one I'm able to pick up is YouTube right now. I hate to send everybody over to YouTube because I just have it out with you. But like, let me just check something real quick here for the moment, and then while I'm checking it out, actually, I'll play some of the RNC. We're gonna have the RNC for Trump. We're gonna go ahead live to the RNC, but I want to try and figure out this chat issue because I want people to be able to engage, especially during the RNC. Normally, I would just roll with it anyway, but YouTube is working, folks. So whatever broadcast we're on Rumble, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. But you get the Patriot Think Tank on YouTube. Just go there, search it, you'll find it. But I really would like to get it working on all of them so people can just stay on their regular platforms and still be able to communicate. Oh, wait, there's no volume, huh?
Yeah, you have the RNC muted.
Kai's speech, we wanted to convey that this is a human being. The father-in-law that I know, the grandpa that Kai knows and that my kids know, I think people forget that often, and so I'm so happy that people got to see this side of him.
It really is, and it was a big moment when you showed tremendous courage in what for a lot of people would be a high-pressure environment. I think you made it into the family business. I think you're. I think you passed the litmus
We might want to
test.
say I'm sorry. I know. I don't know.
I don't know. You guys have been through so much, and we've been friends a long time. You're such a delightful young woman.
Thank you.
America kind of fell in love with you last night, and you were the star of the show. So thank you for coming on. Laura, I know you guys got to get over to see Grandpa.
And see Eric Trump speak.
Eric, by the way,
I'm going to get divorced if I don't go see my husband.
you got to go see your husband.
Yeah.
And by the way, outdoing your speech is going to be a challenge,
that's
as I
very
wrote
nice.
both of you. Thank you both.
Yeah, thank you, Sean.
All right, joining us now, Senator Ted Cruz, great state of Texas. How are you, my friend? I don't ever get to see you in person.
Well, normally I'm talking to a TV camera. It's good to be in person, and it's even better to be at an amazing convention like this one.
Let's talk about it, and all this
And
talk.
by the way, Kai's coming for your job.
She can have it. She's better than me already, I can tell. Let's talk a little bit about this convention, your speech last night. We're 60 days away from early voting in Pennsylvania. We don't even know who the Democratic candidate fully is. Thoughts?
Look, it is not going to be Joe Biden. And as you know,
you've been saying that. Why are you so convinced?
I predicted that 10 months ago
You
on
did?
my podcast Verdict. I said 10 months ago.
You did?
The Democrats are going to pull Joe Biden off the ticket. They're going to replace him with Michelle Obama is what I predicted. And at the time that the corporate media went nuts, said I was a moonbat lunatic, I think we are days away from
By the way,
Biden
we
being off
share
the
that.
ticket.
I get called the same thing.
Yeah.
My sources are telling me it's 50-50 still. Like, they're saying it, the White House is denying it, but more than before, it seems more real.
Look, I think it is north of 90% right now. You've got the entire Democrat Party that has come out against him. You've got Obama that's come out against him. You've got Chuck Schumer. You've got Pelosi. You've got Jeffries. You've got the donors. You've got the corporate media. You've got Hollywood. Like, everyone is arrayed against him. And listen, think about how Nixon stepped down. He stepped down because a handful of old bulls from the Senate,
like Barry Goldwater,
went to the Oval.
Right.
And they didn't do so gently. They said either you step down or the House will impeach you and will convict you and remove you. At the end of the day, the hammer the Democrats have, if they want to use it, is the 25th Amendment.
Yeah.
And the 25th Amendment takes the vice president and half the cabinet.
Explain this. So he's not qualified to run, but he's qualified to be president now. And by the way, they were surprised that he's a cognitive mess. Senator, I don't think anybody in the country ran those tapes of Joe more than yours truly.
Yeah. Look, everyone who was paying attention knew a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago that Biden's mental capabilities had diminished. You're right. No Democrat cared. They didn't care until they believed he was going to lose. So have you heard a single Democrat say the man is demented, he's not competent to tie his shoes, but he shouldn't be commander-in-chief right now? I mean, listen, there comes a time where you take the keys away from Grandpa. In this case, those keys are attached to ICBMs.
By the way, a frightening thought. We're going to bring in a fellow senator. Is that okay with you? I think you guys are friends.
You've got the Cuban caucus right here.
Oh, geez. Here we go. Is that
two
by the way,
Cubans is a trend, but three's a conspiracy. You got to be.
Now, he was supposed to be on last night, but he ditched me to be in the box with President Trump. I don't know. How should I take that? You're my senator.
I know, but he's the president from Florida, too, as well. So.
That's true. Great to see you. I thought you gave a very great, gracious speech. You were the finalist, really, from all my sources. What was that like for you?
It was great, and I got to know President Trump even deeper, and I worked with him closely when he was president, and it was great. But he had a lot of really good choices. I mean, JD's going to be really, really good. I mean, I think people got a glimpse of it last night. I've known him now for about 6 years. Started really interacting with him in 2018. Actually helped us with some policy stuff. And then he's gone to the Senate. And Ted will tell you, he's one of the smartest people around. Right after Ted Cruz. He's the second smartest guy. And
well, Alan Dershowitz says that he was, in all the years that he was a professor at Harvard, that this guy was his best student. And you guys don't agree on much.
We don't, but Dershowitz is an amazing professor, and I'll tell you, like millions of Americans, Joe Biden is driving him away from the Democrat Party because they've gotten so radical. When they're too far left for Alan Dershowitz, that tells you they've really gone off the cliff.
That's true. That's a great point.
All right, Jack. I'm not able to.
Here.
I'm not able to get that going right now, so it's going to have to be a
I
YouTube party today. We're still going to be broadcast everywhere else,
but going to remain the same. Policies on open borders are not going to change. I think the biggest national security threat we have, economic policy is.
It doesn't seem like it's going to be working. Jack, you there?
I am, yes, sir.
All right, so sorry, folks, but if you want to comment and engage, you can, but you have to go over to the infamous YouTube to do it. So for those of you who, and since YouTube is like our least used platform, it's pretty much forcing everyone to go to another platform. So, but nonetheless, Jack, so we talked about this last week, and then I talked to you about it earlier, and you were like, well, one thing I want to mention is that woman screaming. And I was sitting there saying, wait a minute, I said that too. And still we think alike, even though we haven't broadcast together for a while. But
yeah, well, go ahead.
Go ahead. No,
I was going to say, yeah, I mean, immediately, as soon as I saw what happened, there was a volley of shots, 3, 4, 5, whatever, but you heard them.
And that's a little.
Then, then there was another volley. And then there was a brief period. And then I heard what I think to be a lone shot and a woman screaming. And that went, unanswered, unexplained. And I kept thinking, didn't anybody catch that? And
I was theorizing about it. And I think, and I was telling you earlier what I thought. I think it's a matter of that bullet, because if you watch and look, I'll take you to it in the clip, just so if people don't know what we're talking about, they can get an idea for this too. There was a moment after the shots were fired where you hear the scream.
Move to spare. Hold. When you're ready. On you. Ready.
I want to really see something that said.
Yeah.
And that's a volley back and forth. Right there.
Right there.
We'll catch it again and listen for the little pop, because I heard that too. It didn't sound as loud as the other shots, but I heard it too. And the fact that it was preceding a scream like that. Now you look where everybody's looking, right? Everybody's looking down, like on our right, right? Like to Trump's left, which means something popped coming in that same direction. And then the scream let out. Everybody's looking down there, which is in a direction a missed shot would have been. Like, that's got to be the one that hit the firefighter. If not him, then one of the other. I think the other ones were standing on the podium, though. So I think that's the shot that hit the firefighter. Because look where they're all looking. Like, they're all looking right down into that area, like that would have been past Trump.
Move to spare. Hold. When you're ready. On you. Ready. Move.
Again, to me, a bit of a mystery. I don't understand why it hasn't been addressed or analyzed. But there's a lot of things that still
that haven't been addressed or analyzed. I mean,
yeah. Just some of the things that come to my mind, and it's not like I'm some type of investigative detective, but all right, one of the things that popped into my mind right away, I heard in the days following that the shooter went to Home Depot and purchased a ladder. Okay, well, do we have the receipt for that ladder? what type of ladder was it? What brand?
Now
What,
I'm confused, Jack, because I thought they were reporting, at least early on, that the ladder was a part of the ladder was attached to the building.
well, so that's what I had heard. And then I had heard a report a couple of days later that when he left home, he went to Home Depot and purchased a ladder. And then he went somewhere else and purchased 50 rounds. I also heard today that his parents called the police saying that he was missing, which is kind of odd.
Right.
It's not like he was missing overnight. They called right around that time frame. The details are still fuzzy. But so, just going back to something like that, well, I'd want to know, all right, what type of ladder did you purchase? Is it on the receipt? What type of ladder did they find? Because I find it difficult to understand how he could have gotten out of a car. And there's a lot of memes about this, but how does he get out of a car and make his way to that building with a ladder? And why wasn't he immediately approached by a police officer? Because how can you walk across the field? Where was his car parked? How far did he have to carry that ladder?
Well, they saw him and were engaged with the idea that he was there with a gun like a hour before the event started. He was,
Yeah.
and they didn't consider him a threat until 10 minutes before Trump started speaking. But it's like, how on earth do you not consider him a threat? Like, everything is a threat when when you're talking about a former president of the United States. And like, your only job is to make sure nothing happens to him. Here's the thing, dude. Here's what bothers me more than anything else in this whole thing is that for the first time in years, I've been watching Fox News because I'm trying to get a steady stream of information just to see if something breaks or if something new comes out. But unfortunately, because not that much new stuff comes out, you have to listen to all their bloviating for all that time. And in doing that, I'm like, they're so convinced that like their big thing trying to be, the Republican channel or whatever the hell it is that they're trying to do. They're trying to be like, oh, well, it's all that rhetoric from Biden that caused this youngster to get triggered. And I'm just like, is no one going to have the balls to just acknowledge that this is an obvious deep state hit? like it's just no one's even gonna say it and then get called crazy by everyone else. Like just no one's gonna say it. We're all just gonna keep talking like this was just a kid, who grabbed dad's gun and magically made it to the rooftop during a Secret Service secured event, a rooftop with a clear shot to the president of the United States, flailed shots all over the damn place, yet one skims the president's ear. Like the idea that this kid was just a lone gunman and I know it's not proven that there were more than one gun, but there's some serious. This is not the Kennedy assassination. There are thousands of video cameras around this scene, and almost everyone had them turned on because it was Trump. And the idea that friggin' the footage hasn't even begun to roll in yet. I mean, there's stuff coming in. They've got this guy right on the top of the freaking building. Like, where's this one? I got this one clip where the dude is like videoing him, and you could like clearly see his face. Like you could clearly see the guy's face. Like, out of control.
Hey, George.
Yeah.
While you're locating that, I do have one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
What does bloviating mean?
Bloviating just means talking blah, like just talk, like filling the air with meaningless words, right? Like,
is that an actual word?
It is.
Or is that New York slang, like bloviating, like I'm just blowing it out
No,
of my mouth?
it's an actual word.
It is. All right. I didn't know if it was, one of your slang words. And he was bloviating.
You know who used to use bloviating all the time, and maybe that subconsciously stuck with me, was Bill O'Reilly.
Okay.
He used to use it all the time. And back in the heyday, in his heyday, I watched his program. Now I see the guy as like I listen to him now. I was listening to 770 radio in New York, and he apparently has a show there because he came on and was like talking, and I'm listening to him talk, and he's so the classic boomer Republican that's everybody's a conspiracy theorist. He's the sane one, right? He's the one and he just scoffs and laughs at all the notions of everything, and it's just like he wrote a book called Killing Kennedy, and came to the hard conclusion after rigorous research that it was a lone gunman, and it was and Oswald was acting on his own. And I was just like, this guy, like like there's an element of him that I used to appreciate because he would take opinions and approaches that I didn't agree with, and at the time that was incredibly rare. It's still rare now, but there was a day where it wasn't as rare, but I appreciated the fact that I didn't agree with him all the time. But now I just look at him just as completely outdated, and his show would have died if it would have stayed on. It would have hung in there at number one for it might even still be number one today because the competition is so horrific. But it would be number one with a lot less viewers. That type of old school, look at me, I'm in the center, just going out of your way to the point of embarrassment to be in the center when obvious stuff is happening right in front of your face. Anyone who looks at this shooting and doesn't understand in light of everything that's going on, if you're the guy sitting there going, well, give me the name. Give me the name of the person who set up the frame and who did all of it. It's seriously? I could probably tell you Mayorgas, but then you're going to say, well, where's the proof? Where are the documents? It's dude, that's kind of the whole point of deep state. The documents are there, but you ain't going to find them until Trump takes office. You ain't going to find the emails and all. They're not giving all that up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but the theory
and what I found really comical too,
yeah,
because I'm reading the other side, right? And then you have this certain faction of people that are saying, well, it was a fake on Trump's part. And all I could think was, yeah, he's going to hire a kid that couldn't make the rifle team to lay on the roof and set this whole thing up.
We are hearing from the man who took the now viral video of the suspected shooter.
So I know I'm going to get missed, right? So,
well, here's my theory, and with everything that I've been able to see so far, and obviously it's all subject to new stuff coming out and whatever else. But this kid was hired to just pop off shots. They didn't think he was going to make the hit, and that another gunman made the hit while he was flailing shots all over the damn place. Like the bullet that almost hit Trump in the head, I'm willing to bet, and we'll see, because they won't show the ballistics and we can't see what everything's coming from and whatever. But I'm willing to bet that kid probably did his best, was probably pumped up and told, you're going to be a hero, but that they knew he'd miss and choke and become a mess. And so they just had a professional. And there's that water tower or some sort of tower behind that building that now is also under suspicion. People are looking at and whatever. And and now they're saying, well, that could be where it's from. And I'm like, I mean, I don't know, right? I don't know, and I see Sonic Dreams here left a comment on YouTube. My feature chat's not working either, so I'm gonna have to just call her out to call it out. Sonic Dreams says BlackRock connection, and I would say probably not. BlackRock is not really involved in this sort of thing. BlackRock would be if there was something financial going on, absolutely. But this was funded by the U.S. government, in my mind. There's, but anyway, that's my theory so far. Is that
Well, the hard part is we don't have an exact accounting of the rounds, right? So you can account for the rounds. We can approximate by listening how many rounds went off. Well, how many rounds were fired from the Secret Service? Was it that second volley that was the Secret Service? If so,
So in one of the videos, I don't know if you saw this video. I keep looking for stuff now, but give me 1 second and I'm gonna try and find this. Is this one?
And you know, that's a little bit old.
Think here. Nope. There's one that these kids did. I don't know if they're kids, I guess, but they showed like another shot being popped off. And I was like, what the hell is that? Hold on a second, man. I got the TV downstairs. All right. TV's on downstairs. It's like cranking like a movie theater. The hell? All right. Tell me I didn't save this clip.
We are hearing from the man who took the now viral video of the suspected shooter sharing his experience as the chaos unfolded on Saturday night. Fox 25's Keith Daniels takes us through his perspective.
If you look at
well, the man who captured images of that suspected gunman on the roof that day says he believes law enforcement could have done more to stop that deadly shooting. His thoughts, as he describes to me.
Where is it? Look at this. He got a close enough video you can see the dude's face.
Suspected killer, 20-year-old Thomas Crooks, on the roof of a building, taking aim.
When I seen him holding the gun like he was taking aim, I thought, oh my God, this guy's about to shoot into the crowd or something. So I turned my phone on.
Mike DeFrisha said he started recording on his cell phone. The still photo grabbed from that video.
Yeah, we had just got there a little bit late.
He and his wife Amber live in Crawford County, Pennsylvania. They were at the Trump rally in Butler Saturday. They arrived late, so they sat outside of the secured area near the building where Crooks waited.
We were there maybe 10 minutes waiting for Mr. Trump to come on. And then after he came on and started to speak, my wife shortly after he started nudged me and said, hey, what's going on behind us? And that's when we noticed some commotion.
Now, where's that?
Oh my God.
DeFrisha said he noticed Crooks climbing the roof, then noticed he had a gun. They tried alerting police, then took cover.
I kind of felt I could see the guy with my eyes. I knew where he was at. I got me and my wife behind a big tree, and I felt that we were safe.
Then you see the gun, you're like, oh my God, we have to hide. But there's nowhere to hide. There was a couple trees to hide behind. So you didn't know whether to hit the deck or run or just stand still. It's very chaotic in them split seconds.
If you want to really see something this
chaos after gunfire. A bullet grazed the former president's ear. Mr. Trump narrowly escaping a more serious, possibly even fatal blow. But one man in the crowd is killed, 2 others wounded. Secret Service snipers take down Crooks, killing him.
It was devastating to us. I mean, to know that we watched a guy shoot somebody, and also even the shooter. I mean, we watched him get shot right in front of us. I mean, we seen it. We seen the aftermath.
The couple believing something more could have been done to prevent the tragic shooting, talking now about who, besides the shooter, should be held accountable.
People are trying to say the local cops and this and that might not have done their job. And in my opinion, and I haven't put this out anywhere else besides now that it's been a couple days, we're processing some of this. You know, it's Secret Service's job to keep terror of the president.
Well, after what happened, Mrs. DeFrisha says she doesn't believe that she will be going to any more rallies.
But like, yeah, I'm gonna see if I can pull this off with it's a different link. All right, I have it up, but it's like in my well, it's hard to explain, this Electron app that like allows me to post feed. But like, this is the technical problems you go with when you don't have an actual
Studio
actual
and producer.
Yeah, like I can't. It's not like Bongino where I could just turn around and be like, "Oh, Jim, why don't you go ahead and show me clip 6?" Like, you know, like, I don't get to do all that fun stuff. For me, it's like, hold on, let me dig through all of these files and try and find clip 6. Like, it's pretty wild. But hold on, let me. There might be a way here that I'm getting good enough with this stuff that I can pull it off. Go to homepage. Go to actual video. Add link. Pop it in. I got it, Jack. I think I got it.
All right.
If I
we'll
get
see.
it, then that means pulling up all of Twitter.
Something that said, take a look what happened.
Yeah, it's not showing. I have the video like blown up, but because it's on Twitter, it's not showing it. All right, forget that. Now I gotta freaking stop it. Anyway, it looked good on paper. So, but anyway, it shows this like puff of smoke coming from the left side of Trump, like, so the direction that the bullets are flying, as if that hit it. But the thing is, when you hear the sound of the gunfire, that's when the smoke comes. And he kept hearing that repeating. That was like him focusing and just repeating the fact that every time, like the gunshot and the smoke were simultaneous, and that it wasn't one and then the other. It was, as it would be if that were the target, let's say, right? But like instead, I can't lie. There's still a part of me that thinks I could pull this off. Yeah, share this tab instead. What does that work? That works. Same bullshit. All right. But anyway, there's so many problems with this, and I'm watching Fox News and I'm watching these different news stations, and I'm just looking at them and I'm saying to myself, how they're so dedicated to this narrative of this kid who's and they think they're being like good conservatives by blaming Biden for rhetoric and, oh, he said he's going to put him in a bullseye. Like, come on. We all know he didn't mean, you know what I'm saying? Like they're doing stuff that like the leftist wackos do. And I'm sitting here watching them and I'm saying there's no way that there is no one on this set anywhere who understands what exactly they've been attacking him for freaking years now. They have nothing left in their playbook. Like the one who nailed it was Alex Jones, and he was like, "Don't go celebrating that you now won the oh, Trump's going to definitely win and this and that." He's like, because they ain't done yet. They ain't done yet. They know if the bottom line is deep state has nothing to lose. So people are like, oh, this will be too obvious if they do it now. No, they don't care. Because the bottom line is if they're not in control, this thing blows up. They're all going to jail or getting sentenced to death anyway. So at this point, it's like, well, if I go and try and kill him again, or if I do another crazy freaking thing, or, if we crash the economy or do some other, catastrophe, it doesn't matter. Because in the end, either way, they're going to jail. So they may as well try and do it and stay in control and friggin', if they get him, they're thinking, well, maybe we got a shot, at winning. If we can remove Biden and kill Trump, then we can win, and then we can keep everything under control. Because the alternative is you're going to jail.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that's just the bottom line, right? They're going to jail. I mean, if you look, like, here's Andrew McCobb. This guy I should have up here. This dude.
It's terrifying. It's frightening.
FBI, right?
I have a lot of
starting the narrative here. Okay, they're already worried. This was a few weeks ago. I did this on one of my broadcasts where this dude is on MSNBC laying the groundwork, right? So he's one of those deep state dudes that's going to end up getting taken out, and he knows it. Okay, so he goes on MSNBC and he does this. Hold on.
Terrifying. It's frightening. I have a lot of conversations with former colleagues, people who are or were in the intelligence and law enforcement community and may have worked in, the Obama administration, other places. And, people are really trying to assess, like, what is life going to be like if Donald Trump wins a second term? And on a very personal level, I mean, these are torturous discussions with their family members about whether or not they have to leave the country to avoid being unconstitutionally and illegally detained. I mean, people are actually worried about being thrown in jail or grabbed in some sort of extrajudicial detention.
You hear this guy?
Yeah. Yeah. Meanwhile, what did they do to everybody from January 6th, right? So, but he's trying to lay it out like, Donald Trump is going to, step outside of his authority and go after people. But the fact of the matter is, he's going to have access to the evidence that's tucked away right now. And when that comes out,
it's going to be totally legal.
Yeah.
What they do, and like when, and I really wish, I just saw Rudy Giuliani like fell down the other day. He looked pretty fragile. So I maybe I'm, maybe he ain't the guy. I was considering him or DeSantis, put them as head of the DOJ and let them just, because those guys are not going to sell you out. Those guys, those guys are on their own. Deep State's got their own focus on them. They'll both be more than happy to go in there and start clearing house. Like none of this friggin', Mayorkas walks in, someone grabs him by the hand and walks him around explaining to him how he's going to do his job, Like if Rudy was healthy and he walks in there, no one's going to tell Rudy how to do his job. That second guy in command, who's the most dangerous person in the deep state, all right, is the one, because that's the guy that doesn't go away. That's the guy that stays there. He transcends directors and presidents and whatever. Like, that's the guy that's been there for 35 years. And he might be third level. Like, you don't even know exactly, where he is. You don't know which guy they tagged with that, But I can guarantee you that those that have been in there for a very, very long time will never be director of the CIA. Will never be director of NSA. Will never be director of DARPA. They'll never be the head of Department of Homeland Security. They're always going to be just below that. Always.
Yeah, because those other positions turn over and their jobs are long-term. They're on a mission. They're on a long-term mission. And whoever is in above them, they're just waiting for them to turn over.
Jack, I got Gabe. You remember Gabe from Verizon? I got him on YouTube commenting. He said to say hi to you.
Tell Gabe I said hello, please.
He can hear you.
Okay. Hello,
he can hear
Gabe.
you. Yeah, Gabe is saying, what do you say here? Ukraine funding and the kid in the BlackRock commercial. Oh, yeah, I see where you're going. That's why he was saying the BlackRock connection. But yeah, BlackRock, their evil is different. These are the enforcers that are at work now. These are the people.
You hear rumors, though. I mean, obviously, there's so many things and it can go, way out there in terms of getting a little wild. But they're talking about how BlackRock got their hands on him, MK Ultra, that whole type of thing. All the stuff you can't prove, and you can go down that hole if you want to, but you're not going to know.
Right, and that's not essentially what's happening right now. Like the bottom line is, like everybody's skin is in the game here. So it's not even about blackmailing someone anymore. Like all of that stuff is done. Like that's not even what it's about now. What it's about now is just self-preservation for everybody.
Take a look what happened.
Yeah, they're definitely on the defensive. That's for sure. And that's really one of the things that Trump brought to the table. He put those people in a mode where they stepped on the gas pedal because they knew that they had a limited period of time in which to act. And so he's kind of forced their hand and brought a lot to the surface that might otherwise just be a Chinese water torture, but instead they've had to go around and turn around and start waterboarding. You know what I mean with that analogy?
Right.
So,
No, and that's absolutely true. The bottom, all even going into Hillary Clinton and like all the rest of them, like all of the skin is in the game now. Like the Jeffrey Epstein situation, like aliens, like every single thing that deep state has been lying about for friggin', like all of that. Look, even when Trump was in presidency, he refused to release the Kennedy files. Right? They had that law that was passed in the 90s that in 2017 all files must be released. Because even in the 90s they were pretty much passed, like it's like everyone's dead, like it's one of those deals. And they're like, well, we'll give it another 20 years, but at that point all of it has to get released unless the president of the United States says, there's a national security issue, you can't release it, whatever. And then Trump didn't release it. Why do you think that is? You think Pompeo was in his ear like, listen, Donald, I'm not saying these things could happen. I'm just saying the last two presidents that were like interested in this sort of thing died. Well, one died and the other one survived and fortunately had his hands full with some other issues.
Yeah,
but
I wouldn't mention shutting down the Federal Reserve either.
Yeah. Like there are just certain things, that and I don't even know that I blame Trump for being like, he was learning at that point. He was learning so much. I mean, he was a year in and he had already realized, he got off the swamp boat and put his feet in the water and it was up to his neck. In fact, he was probably swimming.
Yeah.
And was like, holy smack, dude, and just learning on the go that how when they say you can't trust anybody, like he was putting people in that he thought he trusted, that he thought he knew. And these people were one after the other stabbing him in the back because they all have something that like there's dirt on all of them. Like if I had the kind of spy capability that Deep State does, or if one of my enemies had it, I consider myself to live a pretty regular, boring life, but like I could manufacture something on a person and make, what I'm saying? And try and destroy that person's life. Like, even though that person doesn't live a bad life.
And there's a lot of people that they don't have to manufacture, whether it be the visitors to Epstein's Island or what have you. I mean, they've been engaged in that type of activity for a long time, is putting people in compromising positions and then having the dirt on them. And then, all right, now you're going to play
classic.
ball.
Yeah, it's classic. And they've done it to so many people that and there's so few of them who are willing to say, well, I don't give a shit, I'm coming out anyway. Those are the people they have to kill.
Yeah.
Like those are the ones that have to go away, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. The ones that end up committing suicide.
Right.
Which might be interesting
ridiculous.
Because, things might come to surface after the first few suicides that follow this attempted assassination, right? You start seeing who's killed himself and more will become obvious.
Right. Right. And that's, but they put together that trail, right, on Hillary Clinton. I don't know if you ever seen it. There's like a trail of like 60 bodies that follow the Clintons throughout their life.
I mean, I've seen probably a form of it. I don't know that I've seen what the exact material you're referring to, but there's been a lot. I mean, let's face it, our not just here in the States, but worldwide, when you're getting ready to expose, whether it be the politicians, whether it be industry, you become a target. Look what happened with,
Something to say. Take a look what happened. Something to say. Take a look what happened. What happened?
Mysteriously dying. Why? I mean, they were young men. and it's not post-vaccination. It was prior to. There was a guy in Jersey, him, his wife, and his 2 children drowned to death in 4 feet of water in their backyard in a pool, an above the ground 4-foot pool.
In 4 feet of water.
Yeah, and I want to say he worked for Moderna, but I don't. I think I'd be incorrect. But he worked for a pharmaceutical company, and he was
something that said, take a look what happened.
Have you? I don't recall. It's been a number of years, but it was very mysterious. And he was working on some of these projects in the background, and that's what happens. You know, you just get disappeared.
But that's the thing. It's been like, this is the significance, right, of Trump finally coming in, with knowing now what, like, after all he's been through, right? Like, because I was worried, and I'm still a little worried, that he's going to pick bad people to surround himself with. I'm still a little worried about that, because he just always does. Like, he fired that first round of people and put in another merry round of do-do-dos, who all backstabbed him as well, right up to Pompeo and Barr and all. Like, he just picked all these people because he trusted them, and they all betrayed him. And it's like, I have to. I mean, look, I don't know what he's going to use as a qualification to bring people in, but I think that, I think that there are, like, you can't bring someone in, and it's crazy to say, but you can't bring someone in who has experience. Anyone who has experience is liable to screw you. Maybe Flynn, maybe General Flynn, because they attacked him. So he's got that, chip on his shoulder.
What about a guy like Rand Paul? Or the guy from Kentucky?
I guess I'd be good with Rand Paul. No, you were right. It's Rand Paul.
All right.
Yeah, the libertarian, the quote unquote libertarian. And I like Rand Paul. I use him. I'm like the only one who watches when he sits there and breaks down all the crap we pay for that we don't, and everyone in Congress leaves. He's always doing it to an empty building. If you ever look at the shots of him doing it, there's never anyone sitting around him anywhere. They all get up like, oh, here goes Rand again. And it's like, well, wait a minute. The dude's sitting here telling you that we just spent $200 million to study the freaking sex habits of Japanese quail while on cocaine. Like, nobody else. Like, this is where the single subject amendment needs to come in. Like, because that's nonsense. That needs to be on its own bill. You don't tack that onto a veterans bill. And then somebody turns around and goes, and I don't know that it was on a veterans bill, but it was on a bill. That's what they do, right? Is they'll get a veterans bill or something significant, and then they'll tack all this ridiculous lizards on treadmills, all of this nonsense, and they'll tack it all on the bottom of the bill. No one ever reads bills anymore, so it doesn't really matter. They write them in such circular legalese and then make them 1,000 pages, and then give you like 2 days to read it and figure it out. By the time, and then they vote for it anyway.
Yeah, and it's all buried in there, and God forbid you don't vote for that veterans bill, because that's the first thing they say. Oh, he shot down a veterans bill. Well,
right.
Was it veterans bill? Right? Or was it
not going to change?
Right, and that's the thing, and then they go everyone, and both sides do it. So it's not even like that's it's not even like that's a liberal thing or only the Democrats do it. The Republicans do it too. They put all the stuff they want at the end of a bill that has nothing to do with the title of the bill, and then friggin' nobody votes for it. Then they go, "Ha, you want to hurt children, in whatever." And you're like, "What?" You're like, "No, I just don't want to pay $600 million for quails and lizards."
Right.
It's like, and that's why, back to Article 5, as I always go, you gotta friggin', you gotta think like that when you're, all right, well, we're going to make an amendment. Let's make an amendment on friggin'. Dude, I keep losing my mouth. Let's make an amendment on single subjects. Like, and you're going to pass a bill? You want to write a bill? It can only have one subject on it. You want to
That's
throw
the way it
in,
should-
you know, cocaine from quail and all this stuff? Jack, what happened? I lost you.
You did?
I lost your video feed.
I don't know.
Still have your audio feed.
My camera is still lit up, so it's not dead on my end.
Okay. I should still have your feed, but I don't.
I don't know, but I think you need to get a new producer, George.
I do. You know what it is, dude? I have so many moving parts with a guest on, and people don't realize that when you bring a guest on, it's like a big deal from a
technical standpoint. It's I know.
When you're using software like OBS, it is. It's a big deal because I don't know why I lost it. I lose you on all the feeds. Yeah. What in the world?
When I first came to Georgia, remember, and I had no internet connection to speak of.
Yeah. Oh, all right. You're just making that as a statement. I thought you were going somewhere else with that.
Yeah, no, sorry, I didn't mean to just drop off there. I was just making a statement. We in the early days of my being in Georgia, you know, it was just like dial-up service.
Yeah, no,
Now
that was brutal. And
yeah,
that was
now they
when we
ran
were still trying to make videos and stuff. You were still engaged at that point.
Yeah.
I don't understand why I lost you. Like, there's no reason why you should not be streamed. Just one of those days, man. Chat's not working.
It is what it is.
Yeah. I don't want to get too crazy about it. I do want to get to this Trump speech, though, because...
Yeah. I'm not overly crazy about the way I look on camera anyway.
See something that said, take a look what happened. See something that said, take a look what happened. What happened? Take a look what happened.
My camera's still lit up. There we go.
If you want to really see something that said, take a look what happened.
What you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call a metal freeze. When these people talk too much, put that shit in slow motion. Yeah, I feel like an astronaut in the ocean. Yeah, what you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call a metal freeze. When these people talk too much, put that shit in slow motion. Yeah, I feel like an astronaut in the ocean. She says that I'm cool. I'm like, yeah, that's true. I believe in G.O.D. Don't believe in T.H.O.D. She keep playing me down. I'ma play her for fun. You don't really know my mental. Let me give you the picture like stencil. Falling down.
Else produced this, but it was, I couldn't find the original video in the time frame that I had, so I had to use theirs. It was sent to me from Twitter. But here, watch this. There's ballistic evidence of a
See something that said, take a look what happened. See something that said, take a look what happened. What happened?
See it?
Take a look what happened. If you want to really see something that said, take a look what happened.
What you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call a metal freeze. When these people talk.
We're ricocheting off.
So did I. But then I was thinking to myself, if the smoke that came up was at the same, I think that's why they kept playing it like that, like kept repeating it to like make the point that the gunshot sound and the smoke were simultaneous.
Well,
like if that came from 139, at that point it would have been like 150 something yards away. There would have been a pop, then the smoke.
Well, there wouldn't.
No?
No. Well, there wouldn't be any smoke from that far away.
Exactly.
What I thought it was either, let's say the railing is powder coated, right? It's hitting the railing, so it's hitting that powder coating, and that powder coating is just lighting up.
So you think that's powder coated, like powder coating from the railing?
It could be. I'm not saying I don't know what
It just looked like smoke to me. Like it just looked like regular smoke. Like it. You could argue maybe it came from somewhere else, but the fact that it coincided with the shot like that. But like this is stuff that like I should be seeing this stuff on the news. You know what I'm saying? Like,
let's
what's
see
that?
it again. I want to see if there's any movement in the curtain.
See something that said, take a look what happened. See something that said, take a look what happened.
It looks like it does look like the button.
What happened?
I mean, it does look like
what
there was a
happened.
bullet hitting.
It really does.
If you want to really see something that said, take a look what happened.
What you know about rolling down deep when your brain goes numb? You can call a mental freeze when these people talk to me.
Terrible shot. It's in line.
Hold on, I'm gonna take us out of the.
Okay.
Out of the. Oh wait, there's like 4 pieces.
So there were 2 sets of stands.
So Trump is on that stage where they got the red and the blue person. They're saying, I guess the blue person is Trump and the red person is that guy that got hit. What they're suggesting is, I think here, and this is what I've heard as well, up in the top sort of left, you see that little tower?
Right.
That's where they're suggesting the second shooter was. And that kind of falls into what my theory was, where I was saying I think this kid was just flailing shots, trying, but just really bad at it. And someone from the tower, while he's flailing shots, someone from the tower goes ahead and picks off and tries to pick him off. Because I heard a sniper say this too, that he was concerned about the trajectory of the bullet that hit Trump. But he didn't get into specifics about what part of the trajectory he was concerned about. But I mean, it did take. I mean, it's hard to say. It's hard to say whether it came from above or if it came from.
So I understand what he's saying about their trajectory, right? Because if he's facing. If he looks to the left to where that screen was, right? And that round is coming straight at him. I guess he was tilting his head back and away. I don't know. We haven't gotten enough good video on this yet, but
I it's hard because they don't have it. It's not set up right. You know what I mean? It's all broken down.
Right.
Because like, if you look. If the stage is facing that way, he shouldn't be able to shoot that way. Like, he shouldn't be able to hit him in the ear. Like, that red line would have been one that shot him in the ear.
Right.
Because, like, the red line's showing where the trajectory was. The yellow line is showing where the shooter was. The shots definitely came from where the red line was. Assuming this is all set up properly and that's the stage.
Yeah, which doesn't seem right.
I don't think that is the stage. I'm looking at it now. The stage looks.
That's a second podium.
That's like an audience.
Or a second stand. The one in the middle should be where Trump was in the straight line.
Yeah. All right. I was seeing it wrong. You're right.
That's a second grandstand. What that figure is in blue, who the hell knows? But that's not going to be Trump in the back right corner.
No, he would have been on the stage, right? So, which
Yeah.
looks like it's where that red structure is.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
I don't know. You know, the hard part too, George. I mean, we're sitting here and we're looking at this thing, and somebody drew that and posted it, and how do we know how valid it is?
No, the video, this I wasn't really focused on. This is the first time I'm even really spending time looking at this. I was just interested in that video. Because the video to me, like I was concerned where the smoke was coming from and where dude, there's a new video coming out like every 10 minutes, it feels like. And
Yeah, yeah.
it's gonna
I
be
really
that
think
way
that
for a while because so many video like dude, everyone had their camera open, and this is what's gonna eventually blow this thing open. Is that this ain't the 60s or 50s where no one has cameras or a handful of people have cameras and they're 60s technologies, so they're grainy. And like you've got people with high def cameras and HD video cameras that are all over the freaking place now. Everybody's got a camera that they can quickly turn out and start.
Yeah.
And this was a scenario where everyone already had them out. It's not even like during the gunshots, everyone had them out shooting something. Most of them shooting the stage, right? But like still, you see, we got people that were shooting the dude on the roof, and people yelling that there's a guy on the roof. Saying like we were all telling police there's a guy on the roof. Like and Secret Service just allowed that roof to stay the way it was. And they didn't just do it, they did it on a day where there happened to be a shooter who was going for that exact roof.
Right.
Like the idea that all this stuff is just some kid who got ramped up by some political rhetoric. It's like, what are you kidding me?
Well, here's the other part of it. He had no social media presence. He had encrypted communication devices. Why would he encrypt it if he's alone, right? At least that's what I've heard recently is that he had encrypted communication devices. And then, he was a registered Republican, but he donated to, the Democratic Party. And I heard he was on a debate team and he debated taking the conservative side. So, I mean, there's just a lot of it's kind of wonky. It just really doesn't add.
No, it doesn't. And that's the whole thing, dude. Is like right now, these deep state, like the question is, what are they going to do now?
Right.
I think we might be getting close
to him speaking.
Yeah. Junior just walked off the stage. Let me, you know what? Let me go to the view we have with,
Okay.
I'm going to switch over to.
I'm going to go get myself a drink.
All right.
All right. I'll be back.
I'm going to switch over to this view, folks, and just give me 1 second. Now that I had that failed attempt at trying to get the other view up. Here we go. Go ahead.
He'll speak just moments from now.
So we are here this evening with our great panel back here for the final night of RNC. Rick Hume, Dana Perino, and Harold Ford. Junior, great to have all of you with us. There's so many events going on outside of here. We look at what's happening with President Biden. So what is the job ahead for the night?
Usually, Martha and Brett, when you hear someone tell us or someone tell you there's a new edition of a certain politician, Lyndon Nixon, I remember that so very well. Usually when you hear that, it's just a kick in the...
I don't know where the second coming from, but unless it's Jack's microphone. Possible, but Trump will be coming on in just a moment. I'm going to need to work out this audio issue before.
Super organized. To what is going to be a very tumultuous election season, given what's going on the Democrat side. The president tonight, the former president, he has the nation's attention, and now he has an opportunity to convince them that he has earned their vote.
Harold, when we look at what we're looking at tonight, obviously a big moment. It's hard to believe it was just a few days ago that we watched that blood streaming across his cheek as he was
Jack, I'm getting this feedback now.
He put that fist in the air. What do you expect tonight?
Of course, good to be with you. It's a blessing that he's here tonight. We've been waiting all week for this. The pre-show, the early acts. We want to see the Stones. We want to see Jay-Z. We want to see Taylor Swift. We're going to get that this evening. Everyone has talked about a lot of people, including J.D. Vance, being the most important speech he's given. This is Donald Trump's most important speech in his life. We have not really heard his voice. We heard a little bit of it, but we've not heard it since Saturday, and we're about to hear it now.
We're going to also see, for the first time in a long time, the former First Lady, Melania Trump, as she enters this hall, likely to a lot of cheers. Let's check down there. Bill, set the table for us.
Good evening from here on the floor. It's been quite extraordinary. With that introduction,
I don't know whether it's happening now. Of course it's happening now. Jack, are you hearing feedback?
This is a story as uniquely American as the ideals of freedom we all cherish. A story of a life dedicated to dreaming big. A story about giving back to the people in this beloved city. But most of all, this is a story about putting his country first. And it's a story best told in pictures. Young and confident, Donald Trump wasn't afraid to think big and build even bigger. And he left his mark on the New York skyline that greeted visitors from around the world. But he wasn't just an American entrepreneur. He became a folk hero. Celebrities and sports stars wanted to be seen with him.
Sound? Jack, there's no sound on the broadcast end of that of the video. Shoot. Can't get it, Jack. Oh, wait, it's Kid Rock. Hold on, we got time. I don't even know why it crashed in the first place. What the heck? Jack, are you hearing feedback? Yeah, we're not getting any audio to the stream. I don't know why it's. You hear me, right? Test. Test. Jack, do you hear me? Yes. Yeah, dude, there's no audio coming over the feed. And I don't know.
You want to pull the plug so we can watch it on TV?
The higher the stakes, the harder he fights, and this guy never gives up.
All right.
So what's at stake here? The answer is in President Trump's text, and I quote, "A fight for our country." I know why he's running for president again. Why else would he put himself through everything he's dealt with just to get back here? We all know he doesn't need this. This guy's got a great life. He has a beautiful family, and he has achieved everything that you could possibly achieve in life. I know President Trump is literally putting his life on the line for something bigger than himself.
What?
And he's willing to risk it all because he loves this country.
No, it's not. I got it on my phone right now.
And I know he wants what's best for the American people.
Now I can't hear it.
All American people.
You can't hear it?
I know he's running for president to save our American dream. I'm living the American dream, and I know the American dream is very real. Whether you were born in this country or came here from someplace else, this is the last real land of opportunity.
Kathy's got it.
President Reagan once said,
it's on the stream.
government's first duty is to protect the people, not run their lives. And if you're buried in government red tape, how will you ever start your own business? If you're struggling to pay your bills, how can you ever afford to start a family? And if you don't feel safe in your own town, why would you ever buy a house? I know that President Trump is fighting to save the American dream, and that's what's at stake in this election. We are choosing who we want to lead us in this fight. I know President Trump is a proven leader, a fearless leader, and this country was in a much better place when he was in the Oval Office. In my mind, the choice is clear. But this election, we all get to choose. I know I'm going to choose strength and security. I know I'm going to choose opportunity and prosperity. I know I'm going to choose real American leadership and a real American badass. And I'm not telling you what choice to make, and I'm not telling you what to think. I'm telling you what I know. I know America needs a strong leader, and the world needs a strong America. I know Donald J. Trump is the best choice for President of the United States. My fellow Americans, it is my honor to introduce the 45th and soon-to-be 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
They had him do the introduction.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again, just my children and my wife. Thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause our flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. Sing it. God bless the USA.
All right, so Jack lost his audio, but he's going to come back and he doesn't want to miss it. So he's watching with Kathy on
From the
Facebook.
lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas,
There he is.
from sea to shining sea, from Detroit to Houston and New York to LA. There's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still
Every time I hear that USA, I think WWF. Great though. Speech said to be all about unity, man. Trump
Thank
seems
you
to be
very
a
much.
changed man.
Thank you very, very much. Wow. And thank you, Dana. Thank you, Kid Rock, sometimes referred to as Bob. And thank you, Lee, right from the beginning. Thank you very much. What a talent. What a beautiful, beautiful soul. Thank you. Friends, delegates, and fellow citizens, I stand before you this evening with a message of confidence, strength, and hope. 4 months from now, we will have an incredible victory, and we will begin the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. Together, we will launch a new era of safety, prosperity, and freedom for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. The discord and division in our society must be healed. We must heal it quickly. As Americans, we are bound together by a single fate and a shared destiny. We rise together or we fall apart. I am running to be president for all of America, not half of America, because there is no victory in winning for half of America. So tonight, with faith and devotion, I proudly accept your nomination for President of the United States. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Gabe, fast forward a little. I was having issues earlier with the audio. It's good now. Trump's actually speaking in front of the audience.
Thank you very much. And we will do it right. Gonna do it right. Let me begin this evening by expressing my gratitude to the American people for your outpouring of love and support following the assassination attempt at my rally on Saturday. As you already know, the assassin's bullet came within a quarter of an inch of taking my life. So many people have asked me, what happened? Tell us what happened, please. And therefore, I will tell you exactly what happened, and you'll never hear it from me a second time because it's actually too painful to tell. It was a warm, beautiful day in the early evening in Butler Township in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Music was loudly playing, and the campaign was doing really well. I went to the stage, and the crowd was cheering wildly. Everybody was happy. I began speaking very strongly, powerfully, and happily because I was discussing the great job my administration did on immigration at the southern border. We were very proud of it. Behind me and to the right was a large screen that was displaying a chart of border crossings under my leadership. The numbers were absolutely amazing. In order to see the chart, I started to, like this, turn to my right and was ready to begin a little bit further turn, which I'm very lucky I didn't do, when I heard a loud whizzing sound and felt something hit me really, really hard on my right ear. I said to myself, wow, what was that? It can only be a bullet. And moved my right hand to my ear, brought it down. My hand was covered with blood, just absolutely blood all over the place. I immediately knew it was very serious, that we were under attack, and in one movement proceeded to drop to the ground. Bullets were continuing to fly as very brave Secret Service agents rushed to the stage, and they really did. They rushed to the stage. These are great people at great risk, I will tell you, and pounced on top of me so that I would be protected. There was blood pouring everywhere, and yet, in a certain way, I felt very safe because I had God on my side. I felt that.
Amen to that. The only way that they would miss it.
The amazing thing is that prior to the shot, if I had not moved my head at that very last instant, the assassin's bullet would have perfectly hit its mark, and I would not be here tonight. We would not be together. The most incredible aspect of what took place on that terrible evening in the fading sun was actually seen later. In almost all cases, as you probably know, and when even a single bullet is fired, just a single bullet, and we had many bullets that were being fired, crowds run for the exits or stampede, but not in this case. It's very unusual.
That's true. I didn't even think of that. Everybody stayed.
This massive crowd of tens of thousands of people stood by and didn't move an inch. In fact, many of them bravely but automatically stood up looking for where the sniper would be. They knew immediately it was a sniper, and then began pointing at him. You can see that if you look at the group behind me. That was just a small group compared to what was in front. Nobody ran, and by not stampeding, many lives were saved. But that isn't the reason.
That's true.
That they didn't move. The reason is that they knew I was in very serious trouble. They saw it. They saw me go down. They saw the blood and thought, actually most did, that I was dead. They knew it was a shot to the head. They saw the blood. And there's an interesting statistic. The ears are the bloodiest part. If something happens with the ears, they bleed more than any other part of the body. For whatever reason, the doctors told me that. I said, why is there so much blood? He said, it's the ears. They bleed more. So we learned something, but they just, this beautiful crowd, they didn't want to leave me. They knew I was in trouble. They didn't want to leave me. And you can see that love written all over their faces.
Found out they were blocking my feed on Facebook.
Incredible people. They're incredible people. Bullets were flying over us, yet I felt serene. But now the Secret Service agents were putting themselves in peril. They were in very dangerous territory. Bullets were flying right over them, missing them by a very small amount of inches. And then it all stopped. Our Secret Service sniper, from a much greater distance and with only one bullet used, took the assassin's life, took him out. I'm not supposed to be here tonight. Not supposed to be here.
You can see he's different. Man, that a Reagan moment.
Thank you.
That's a good thing.
But I'm not. And I'll tell you, I stand before you in this arena only by the grace of Almighty God. In watching the reports over the last few days, many people say it was a providential moment. Probably was. When I rose surrounded by Secret Service, the crowd was confused because they thought I was dead, and there was great, great sorrow. I could see that on their faces as I looked out. They didn't know I was looking out. They thought it was over. But I could see it, and I wanted to do something to let them know I was okay. I raised my right arm, looked at the thousands and thousands of people that were breathlessly waiting, and started shouting, "Fight, fight, fight."
They're going to make a statue of him holding that scene. That's when I tell you, before this is all over, it's going to be a statue.
Thank you. Once my clenched fist went up, and it was high into the air. You've all seen that. The crowd realized I was okay and roared with pride for our country like no crowd I have ever heard before. Never heard anything like it. For the rest of my life, I will be grateful for the love shown by that giant audience of patriots that stood bravely on that fateful evening in Pennsylvania. Tragically, the shooter claimed the life of one of our fellow Americans, Corey, comparator, unbelievable person, everybody tells me. Unbelievable. And seriously wounded, two other great warriors, spoke to them today. David Dutch and James Copenhaver, two great people. I also spoke to all three families of these tremendous people. Our love and prayers are with them, and always will be. We're never going to forget them. They came for a great rally. They were serious Trumpsters, I want to tell you. They were serious Trumpsters, and still are. But Corey, unfortunately, we have to use the past tense. He was incredible. He was a highly respected former fire chief, respected by everybody. Was accompanied by his wife, Helen, incredible woman. I spoke to her today, devastated, and two precious daughters. He lost his life selflessly acting as a human shield to protect them from flying bullets. He went right over the top of them and was hit. What a fine man he was.
His instincts right there. He's effective. I think it's a good thing.
I want to thank the fire department and the family for sending his helmet, his outfit, and it was just something, and they're going to do something very special when they get it. But we did something which cannot match what happened, not even close. But I am very proud to say that over the past few days, we've raised $6.3 million for the families of David, James, and Corey. including from a friend of mine just called up. He sent me a check right here. I just got it. $1 million from Dan Newland. Thank you, Dan. And again, when speaking to the family, I told them, I said, well, I'm going to be sending you a lot of money, but it can't compensate. They all said the same thing. You're right, sir. We appreciate so much what you're doing, but nothing can take the place in the case of Corey. And the other two, by the way, they were very, very seriously injured, but now they're doing very well. They're going to be okay. They're going to be doing very well. They're warriors. So now I ask that we observe a moment of silence in honor of our friend Corey. There is no greater love than to lay down one's life for others. This is the spirit that forged America in her darkest hours, and this is the love that will lead America back to the summit of human achievement and greatness. This is what we need. Despite such a heinous attack, we unite this evening more determined than ever. I am more determined than ever, and so are you. So is everybody in this room. Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's so somber.
Our resolve is unbroken and our purpose is unchanged to deliver a government that serves the American people better than ever before. Nothing will stop me in this mission because our vision is righteous and our cause is pure. No matter what obstacle comes our way, we will not break, we will not bend, we will not back down, and I will never stop fighting for you, your family, and our magnificent country. Never. And everything I have to give with all of the energy and fight in my heart and soul, I pledge to our nation tonight. Thank you very much. I pledge that to our nation. I'm going to turn our nation around, and we're going to do it very quickly. Thank you. This election should be about the issues facing our country and how to make America successful, safe, free, and great again. In an age when our politics too often divide us, now is the time to remember that we are all fellow citizens. We are one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
He's nailing it with this speech.
And we must not criminalize dissent or demonize political disagreement, which is what's been happening in our country lately at a level that nobody has ever seen before. In that spirit, the Democrat Party should immediately stop weaponizing the justice system and labeling their political opponent as an enemy of democracy. Especially since that is not true. In fact, I am the one saving democracy for the people of our country. And very big news, as you probably just read, on Monday a major ruling was handed down from a highly respected federal judge in Florida, Eileen Cannon, finding that the prosecutor and the fake documents case against me were totally unconstitutional, and the entire case was thrown out of court. with all of that publicity thrown out.
And that guy who did the prediction said that would happen.
If Democrats want to unify our country, they should drop these partisan witch hunts, which I have been going through for approximately 8 years. And they should do that without delay and allow an election to proceed that is worthy of our people. We're going to win it anyway, but worthy of our people. On this journey, I am deeply honored to be joined by my amazing wife, Melania.
He is a beast mode first lady. Getting a script to the back first lady. Not since Jackie announced it's only Jackie Queen.
And Melania, thank you very much. You also did something really beautiful, a letter to America calling for national unity, and it really took the Republican Party by surprise. I will tell you, it was beautiful. In fact, some very serious people said that we should take that letter and put it as part of the Republican platform. That would be an honor, wouldn't it? Right, Mr. Congressman? But it captivated so many, so I also want to thank my entire family for being here. Don, Kimberly, Ivanka and Jared, Eric and Lara, Tiffany and Michael, and Barron. We love our Barron. And of course, my 10 wonderful grandchildren. You saw a few of them up there on my lap before. And how good was Dana? Was Dana good? I mean, was he good? He was on probably the only vacation he's had in about, maybe ever, because he works, but about 10 years with his wife, very far away. I won't tell you where, but very, very far away, beautiful place. And my people called, and he said, I won't be able to do it. This is many, many years. I promised my wife I can't do it. And they came in, they said, Dana won't be able to do it because he was my first, second, and third choice. I said, well, that's too bad, but I understand he's away, and it's good. It's good for him. And that was it. About 30 minutes later, she came back in, sir, Dana just called. He's going to do it. And his wife, she said, you can't turn him down. You just can't do it. You have to go. That's a good wife. So he got on a plane. He got here a little while ago. Now he's going to get on the plane in a little while, and he's going to go back home to his wife. But they're great, and I just want to thank her and him and their whole family, because that's not easy. And Kid Rock, same thing. Called, he said, I want to be a part of it. I want to be a part, because, Kid does his great song, Big, Big Monster song. I had no idea. He became a friend of mine over the last 10 years. And he's amazing. Everyone loves him. I didn't even know how big he was. He has rallies, 35,000, 40,000 people he gets every time he goes out. I think he's making so much money, he doesn't know what the hell to do with it. You want to know? And then we have my other friend, and I've known him so long, and we took that song, and it was a big success, but we made that. I saw a chart of great songs to America. That was #1 on the chart recently, #1. So that's Lee Greenwood, a very special, beautiful person. He's a beautiful man. But they all wanted to be here. They called. And how about the Hulkster? How good was he? Is he up? Where is he? Boy, oh boy.
You got Hulk Hogan's endorsement?
They may call it.
It's on now.
They may call that entertainment. I know about entertainment, but when he used to lift a 350-pound man over his shoulders and then bench press him 2 rows into the audience. I say, maybe entertainment, but he is one strong son of a gun. I will tell you, I watched it many times. There aren't a lot of entertainers that can do that, right? You were fantastic. Thank you very much. Followed by Eric. What was that all about? Boy, that was good. I didn't want to really come up here. But he was so great, and he's such a good young man. He went through a lot of trouble, and Don last night was incredible. They went through so much trouble. They got subpoenaed more than any people probably in the history of the United States. Every week they get another subpoena from the Democrats, crazy Nancy Pelosi, the whole thing, just boom, boom, boom. They've got to stop that because they're destroying our country. We have to work on making America great again, not on beating people. And we won. We beat them in all. We beat them on the impeachments. We beat them on indictments. We beat them. But the time that you have to spend, if they would devote that genius to helping our country, we'd have a much stronger and better country. And Jason, the biggest star in country music. Jason, thank you for being here. Jason, thank you very much. Jason Aldean, he's good. I like his wife even better, by the way. She's here. Thank you, Jason. But I'm thrilled to have a new friend and partner fighting by my side. The next Vice President of the United States, the current Senator from Ohio, J.D. Vance, and his incredible wife, Usha.
Who happens to be a Convention of States Science supporter. Just saying.
He's going to be a great Vice President. He's going to be great. He'll be with this country and with this movement, greatest movement in the history of our country. Make America great again. When they criticize it, they say, we're going to try and stop MAGA. I said, MAGA is Make America Great Again. What are you going to stop? There's nothing to stop. Then they say, oh, that's right. It's very tough to fight it. And all of the people that did try and fight it have failed. But he's going to be with us for a long time, and it was an honor to select him. Great, great student at Yale. His wife was a great student at Yale. They met at Yale. These are two smart people. So, J.D., you're going to be doing this for a long time. Enjoy the ride. And a very special thank you to the extraordinary people of Milwaukee and the great state of... Oh, there they are. There they are. You are so easy to spot. And Green Bay's going to have a good team this year, right? They're going to have a good team. They're going to have a good team. Most of the audience doesn't like it, but it's true. You're going to have a very good team this year. And by the way, Wisconsin, we are spending over $250 million here, creating jobs and other economic development all over the place. So I hope you will remember this in November and give us your vote. I am trying to buy your vote. I'll be honest about that.
They're going to take that one out of context. You're going to see that all over.
And I promise we will make Wisconsin great again. We're going to make it. Thank you, Mr. Governor. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm here tonight to lay out a vision for the whole nation, to every citizen, whether you're a young or old man or woman, Democrat, Republican, or independent, black or white, Asian or Hispanic. I extend to you a hand of loyalty and of friendship. Together we will lead America to new heights of greatness like the world has never seen before. We were right there in the first term. We got hit with COVID. We did a great job. Nobody knew what it was, but nobody's ever seen an economy pre-COVID. And then we handed over a stock market that was substantially higher than just prior to COVID. Coming in, did a great job. Never got credit for that. We got credit for the war and defeating ISIS and so many things. The great economy, the biggest tax cuts ever, the biggest regulation cuts ever, the creation of Space Force, the rebuilding of our military. We did so much. We did so much. Right to try. Right to try is a big deal. We got right to try. They were trying to get that for 52 years. Somebody's terminally ill, and hopefully there's nobody in this audience, but it does happen a lot. They're terminally ill and they can't use our new space-age drugs and other things that we are way ahead. We have the greatest doctors in the world, the greatest laboratories in the world, and you can't do it. They've been trying to get that approved for 52 years. Wasn't that easy? The insurance companies didn't want to do it. They didn't want the risk. The labs didn't want to do it because if it didn't work, people are pretty far down the line toward death. They didn't want to do it. The doctors didn't want to have it on their records, so I got everybody into an office. 52 years they tried. Sounds simple, but it's not. And I got them to agree that somebody that needs it will, instead of going to Asia or Europe or someplace, or if you have no money, going home and dying, just die. We got them to sign an agreement, agree to it, where they're not going to sue anybody. They're going to get all of this stuff. They're going to get it really fast. And what's happened is we're saving thousands and thousands of lives. It's incredible. Right to try. It's a great feeling. Under our leadership, the United States will be respected again. No nation will question our power. No enemy will doubt our might. Our borders will be totally secure. Our economy will soar. We will return law and order to our streets, patriotism to our schools, and importantly, we will restore peace, stability, and harmony all throughout the world. But to achieve this future, we must first rescue our nation from failed and even incompetent leadership. We have totally incompetent leadership. This will be the most important election in the history of our country. Under the current administration, we are indeed a nation in decline. We have an inflation crisis that is making life unaffordable, ravaging the incomes of working and low-income families, and crushing, just simply crushing our people like never before. They've never seen anything like it. We also have an illegal immigration crisis, and it's taking place right now as we sit here in this beautiful arena. It's a massive invasion at our southern border that has spread misery, crime, poverty, disease, and destruction to communities all across our land. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Then there's an international crisis, the likes of which the world has seldom been part of. Nobody can believe what's happening. War is now raging in Europe and the Middle East. A growing specter of conflict hangs over Taiwan, Korea, the Philippines, and all of Asia. And our planet is teetering on the edge of World War III. And this will be a war like no other war because of weaponry. The weapons are no longer army tanks going back and forth shooting at each other. These weapons are obliteration. It's time for a change. This administration can't come close to solving the problems. We're dealing with very tough, very fierce people. They're fierce people. And we don't have fierce people. We have people that are a lot less than fierce, except when it comes to cheating on elections and a couple of other things. Then they're fierce. Then they're fierce. So tonight, I make this pledge to the great people of America. I will end the devastating inflation crisis immediately, bring down interest rates, and lower the cost of energy. We will drill, baby, drill.
It would be nice to be energy independent again. Drill, baby, drill.
Can you believe what they're doing? But by doing that, we will lead a large-scale decline in prices. Prices will start to come down. Energy raised it. They took our energy policies and destroyed them. Then they immediately went back to them, but by that time, so much was lost. But we will do it at levels that nobody's ever seen before, and we'll end lots of different things. We'll start paying off debt and start lowering taxes even further. We gave you the largest tax cut. We'll do it more. You know, people don't realize I brought taxes way down, way down, and yet we took in more revenues the following year than we did when the tax rate was much higher. Most people said, how did you do that? Because it was incentive. Everybody was coming to the country. They were bringing back billions and billions of dollars into our country. The companies made it impossible to bring it back. The tax rate was too high, and the legal complications were far too great. I changed both of them, and hundreds of billions of dollars by Apple and so many other companies were brought back into our nation, and we had an economy the likes of which no nation had ever seen. China, we were beating them at levels that were incredible. And they know it. They know it. We'll do it again, but we'll do it even better. I will end the illegal immigration crisis by closing our border and finishing the wall, most of which I've already built. On the wall, we were dealing with a very difficult Congress. And I said, oh, that's okay. We won't go to Congress. I call it an invasion. We gave our military almost $800 billion. I said, I'm going to take a little of that money because this is an invasion. And we built, most of the wall is already built. And we built it through using the funds because what's better than that? We have to stop the invasion into our country that's killing hundreds of thousands of people a year. We're not going to let that happen. I will end every single international crisis that the current administration has created, including the horrible war with Russia and Ukraine, which would have never happened if I was president, and the war caused by the attack on Israel, which would have never happened if I was president. Iran was broke. Iran had no money. Now Iran has $250 billion. They made it all over the last 2.5 years. They were broke. I watched the other day on a show called Deface the Nation. Has anyone seen it? And they had a congressman who was a Democrat say, well, whether you like him or not, Iran was broke dealing with Trump. I told China and other countries, if you buy from Iran, we will not let you do any business in this country, and we will put tariffs on every product you do send in of 100% or more. And they said to me, well, I think that's about it. They weren't going to buy any oil. And they were ready to make a deal. Iran was going to make a deal with us. And then we had that horrible, horrible result that we'll never let happen again. The election result, we're never going to let that happen again. They used COVID to cheat. We're never going to let it happen again. And they took off all the sanctions, and they did everything possible for Iran. And now Iran is very close to having a nuclear weapon, which would have never happened. This is a shame what this administration, the damage that this administration has done. And I say it often, if you took the 10 worst presidents in the history of the United States, think of it, the 10 worst, added them up, they will not have done the damage that Biden has done. I'm only going to use the term once. Biden. I'm not going to use the name anymore, just one time. The damage that he's done to this country is unthinkable. It's unthinkable. Together we will restore vision, strength, competence, and we're going to have a thing called common sense making most of our decisions, actually. It's all common sense.
What? Common sense.
Just a few short years ago, under my presidency, we had the most secure border and best economy in the history of our country, in the history of the world. We had the greatest economy in the history of the world. We had never done anything like it. We were beating every country, including China, by leaps and bounds. Nobody had seen anything like it. We had no inflation, soaring incomes were going. Nobody's Nobody can believe it. You can't believe what happened 4 years ago is happening now in reverse. And the world was at peace. Inflation has been a killer for our country. No matter what you make it doesn't matter, because inflation is eating you alive. People that were putting away money, they were making great wages, the highest they've ever made, but they were putting away a lot of money. Now they are just being destroyed. They're not putting away anything. They're barely living. They're going into savings accounts. They're taking out their money to live because of inflation. Inflation, remember, it's called a country buster. You can go back to Germany from 100 years ago. You can go back to any country that suffered great inflation. We've suffered the worst inflation we've ever had. But go back and see what's happened to those countries. We've had the worst inflation we've ever had under this person. But in less than 4 years, our opponents have turned incredible success into unparalleled tragedy and failure. It's been a tremendous failure. Today, our cities are flooded with illegal aliens. Americans are being squeezed out of the labor force, and their jobs are taken. And by the way, you know who's taking the jobs that are created? 107% of those jobs are taken by illegal aliens. And you know who's being hurt the most by millions of people pouring into our country? The black population and the Hispanic population, because they're taking the jobs from our black population, our Hispanic population, and they're also taking them from unions. The unions are suffering because of it. Thank you. Thank you. I like you too. Thank you very much. Inflation has wiped out the life savings of our citizens and forced the middle class into a state of depression and despair. That's what it is. It's despair and depression. We cannot and will not let this continue. Less than 4 years ago, we were a great nation, and we will soon be a great nation again. We're going to be a great nation again. Thank you. With proper leadership, every disaster we are now enduring will be fixed, and it will be fixed very, very quickly. So tonight, whether you've supported me in the past or not, I hope you will support me in the future, because I will bring back the American dream. That's what we're going to do. You don't even hear about the American dream anymore. With great humility, I am asking you to be excited about the future of our country. Be excited. Be excited. And by the way, the news reports, look at all of those big networks. Look at them. They're all here. But every one of them has said this could be the most organized, best run, and most enthusiastic convention of either party that they've ever seen. Every single one.
The only one I sat through.
And it's true. It's true. And there's love in the room. There's great love in the room. So I better finish strong. Otherwise, we'll blow it, and we can't let that happen. Now, this was great. All of the great people that spoke, and everybody hit a home run. I mean, there's not one that I can think of where I said, oh, gee, that wasn't great. Every single person. I refuse to be the only one. Don't do that to me. They're already getting ready. See, I gave them an idea. No, this was a great convention. This was, I think we're actually going to go home and miss it. You know, usually with a convention, first of all, look at these crowds. You'd never have this at a convention. Look at these crowds. Love, it's about love. This week, the entire Republican Party has formally adopted an agenda for America's renewal, and you saw that agenda. And it's very short compared to the long, boring, meaningless agendas of the past, including the Democrats. They write these things that are hundreds of pages long, and they never read them after they're done. In their case, fortunately, they don't read them because they're pretty bad. It's a series of bold promises that we will swiftly implement when you give us a Republican House. And Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. We have our great Speaker of the House with us tonight, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much.
Great, I don't want to ruin the moment.
A Republican Senate. We have many senators here. And send me back to our beautiful White House just a few short months from now. We're talking about just months. It can't come fast enough. We have to get it done. First, we must get economic relief to our citizens. Starting on day one, we will drive down prices and make America affordable again. We have to make it affordable. It's not affordable. People can't live like this. Under this administration, our current administration, groceries are up 57%, gasoline is up 60 and 70%, mortgage rates have quadrupled. And the fact is, it doesn't matter what they are because you can't get the money anyway. You can't buy houses. Young people can't get any financing to buy a house. The total household costs have increased an average of $28,000 per family under this administration. Republicans have a plan to bring down prices and bring them down very, very rapidly. By slashing energy costs, we will in turn reduce the cost of transportation, manufacturing, and all household goods. So much starts with energy. And remember, we have more liquid gold under our feet than any other country by far. We are a nation that has the opportunity to make an absolute fortune with its energy. We have it, and China doesn't. Under the Trump administration, just 3.5 years ago, we were energy independent. But soon, we will actually be better than that. We will be energy dominant and supply not only ourselves, but we will supply the rest of the world with numbers that nobody has ever seen, and we will reduce our debt, $36 trillion. We will start reducing that, and we will also reduce your taxes still further. Next, and by the way, they want to raise your taxes 4 times, think of it. And all my life, I grew up watching politicians. I always loved politics. I guess I was on the other side. I'd watch and they were always talking about, we will give you a tax cut. We will give you a tax cut. My whole life I was watching, I will give you a tax cut, right, Mr. Congressman? That's all they talked about. This is the only administration that said, we're going to raise your taxes by 4 times what you're paying now, and people are supposed to vote for them? I've never heard it. You're paying too much. We're going to reduce your taxes still further. We gave you the biggest one, as I said. We're going to give you more, and it's going to lead to tremendous growth. We want growth in our country. That's what's going to pay off our debt. And next, we will end the ridiculous and actually incredible waste of taxpayer dollars that is fueling the inflation crisis. They spent trillions of dollars on things having to do with the Green New Scam. It's a scam. And that's caused tremendous inflationary pressures in addition to the cost of energy. And all of the trillions of dollars that are sitting there not yet spent, we will redirect that money for important projects like roads, bridges, dams, and we will not allow it to be spent on meaningless Green New Scam ideas. And I will end the electric vehicle mandate on day one. Thereby saving the U.S. auto industry from complete obliteration, which is happening right now, and saving U.S. customers thousands and thousands of dollars per car. And right now, as we speak, large factories just started are being built across the border in Mexico. So with all the other things happening on our border, and they're being built by China to make cars and to sell them into our country. No tax, no anything. The United Auto Workers ought to be ashamed for allowing this to happen. And the leader of the United Auto Workers should be fired immediately. And every single auto worker, union and non-union, should be voting for Donald Trump because we're going to bring back car manufacturing and we're going to bring it back fast. They're building some of the largest auto plants anywhere in the world. Think of it, in the world. We're going to bring it back. We're going to make them. We don't mind that happening, but those plants are going to be built in the United States, and our people are going to man those plants. And if they don't agree with us, we'll put a tariff of approximately 100 to 200% on each car, and they will be unsellable in the United States.
He'll do it.
We have long been taken advantage of by other countries. And think of it, oftentimes these other countries are considered so-called allies. They've taken advantage of us for years. We lose jobs, we lose revenue, and they gain everything and wipe out our businesses, wipe out our people. I stopped it for 4 years. I stopped it. And we're really ready to make changes like nobody had seen before. And remember, USMCA, I got rid of NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made, and replaced it with USMCA, which is, they say, the best trade deal ever made. Actually, probably the best trade deal was the deal I made with China, where they buy $50 billion worth of our product. They were buying nothing. They buy $50 billion worth. They had to. But I don't even talk about it because of COVID. I don't even mention it, frankly, because of what happened with the China virus.
I do miss him saying the word China.
We will not let countries come in, take our jobs, and plunder our nation. They come and do that. They plunder our nation. The way they will sell their product in America is to build it in America. Very simple. Build it in America and only in America. And this very simple formula, and Congress has to go along with us, and they will. This very simple formula will create massive numbers of jobs. We will take over the auto industry again, and many, many hundreds of thousands of jobs. We lost so many jobs over the years. If you go back 20, 25 years, they've stolen, going to China and Mexico, about 68% of our auto industry manufacturing jobs. We're going to get them all back. We're going to get them all back, every one of them. At the center of our plan for economic relief are massive tax cuts for workers that include something else that's turned out to be very popular, actually. Here it's very popular in this building and all those hotels that I saw that are so nice. I'm staying in a nice one. It's called no tax on tips. No tax on tips. No tax on tips.
That's a big one. Especially with all these wage increases for employees.
I got that by having dinner recently in Nevada, where we're leading by about 14 points. Hello. I'll see you there very soon, everybody. And we're having dinner at a beautiful restaurant in the Trump building on the Strip, and it's a great building, and the waitress comes over. How's everything going? A really nice person. How's everything? Oh, sir, it's so tough. The government's after me all the time on tips, tips, tips. I said, well, they give you cash. Would they be able to find him? She said, actually, and I didn't know this, she said, very little cash is given. It's all put right on the check. And they come in and they take so much of our money, it's just ridiculous, and they don't believe anything we say. And they've just hired, as you know, 88,000 agents to go after him even more. And I said, this shows the level of my, most people go out, they hire consultants, they pay millions of dollars. But I said to her, let me just ask you a question. Would you be happy if you had no tax on tips? She said, what a great idea. I got my information from a very smart waitress. That's better than spending millions of dollars. And everybody loves it. Waitresses and caddies and drivers and everybody. It's a large large group of people that are being really hurt badly. They make money, let them keep their money. I'm going to protect Social Security and Medicare. Democrats are going to destroy Social Security and Medicare because all of these people, by the millions they're coming in, they're going to be on Social Security and Medicare and other things, and you're not able to afford it. They are destroying your Social Security and your Medicare. Under my plan, incomes will skyrocket, inflation will vanish completely, jobs will come roaring back, and the middle class will prosper like never, ever before, and we're going to do it very rapidly. But no hope or dream we have for America can succeed unless we stop the illegal immigrant invasion, the worst that's ever been seen anywhere in the world. There's never been an invasion like this anywhere. Third world countries would fight with sticks and stones not to let this happen. The invasion at our southern border, we will stop it, and we will stop it quickly. You heard Tom Homan yesterday. Tom Homan, put him in charge and just sit back and watch. Brandon Judd, the Border Patrol, he's incredible. These guys, you know, they really, their job is a lot easier if they don't have to do anything, but they want to. They're patriots. Brandon Judd, Border Patrol, ICE. ICE goes out. You have to see what ICE does with MS-13. You have these are probably the worst gang, and ICE goes in there. And I know a lot of people in these rows here, and they're very tough people, but they don't want to do this job. They'll go into a pack of MS-13 killers. They're the worst, probably the worst gangs in the world. And we have thousands of them. I moved thousands and thousands out in my 4 years. We moved them out, and it was a pleasure. But ICE would go right into a pack of these killers, and you see fists flying, you see everything flying, and then they take them. They put them in a paddy wagon. They take them back, and they get them out of our country. And the other countries weren't accepting them back, and I called up, and I said, tell them that we're not giving them economic aid anymore. And the next day, I got calls from all of these countries that were terminated. Billions of dollars we spend on economic aid to countries that does us, frankly, no good. And the next day, I was called by everybody. I couldn't take all the calls. Sir, what's the problem? I said, you won't take your killers back that you sent in caravans into America. You won't take them back. Well, sir, if you'd like us to, we would give very serious consideration to doing that. And within 24 hours, they were being taken back. For years and years, when I first came in, they said President Obama tried to get him to go back, and they wouldn't accept him. They'd put planes on the runway so you couldn't leave the plane. They'd close the road so you couldn't take the buses. They'd all have to turn back. As soon as I said no more economic aid of any kind to any country that does that, they called back and they said, sir, it would be our great honor to take MS-13. We love them very much. We love them very much, sir. We'll take them back. At the heart of the Republican platform is our pledge to end this border nightmare and fully restore the sacred and sovereign borders of the United States of America, and we're going to do that on day one.
That I fully believe.
That means two things on day one, right? Drill, baby, drill, and close our borders.
Don't forget Ukraine. It can be ended in a day.
And by the way, and I think everybody, as a Republican, as a patriot in this room, and most Democrats, we want people to come into our country, but they have to come into our country legally. Legally. Less than 4 years ago, I handed this administration the strongest border in American history. But you can see on the chart that saved my life, that was the chart that saved my life. I said, look it, I'm so proud of it. I think it's one of the greatest. It was done by the Border Patrol, one of the greatest charts I've ever seen. It showed everything just like that. You know the chart. Oh, there it is. That's pretty good. Wow. Last time I put up that chart, I never really got to look at it. But without that chart, I would not be here today. Never got to look at it. I said, you got to see this chart. I was so proud of it. And by the time I got to there, I never got to see it that day. But I'm seeing it now, and I was very proud. If you look at the arrow on the bottom, that's the lowest level, the one on the bottom, heavy red arrow. That's the lowest level of illegal immigrants ever to come into our country in recorded history, right there. Right there. And that was my last week in office. And then you see what happened after I left. Look at the rest. And if you go out a little bit further, it's getting to be a little bit old, but I love it anyway, right? But you can go much higher with those numbers. Look what happened right after that. The invasion began. We had the opposite. We stopped the invasion. But the invasion that we stopped was peanuts by comparison to what happened after I left. Look at what happened after I left. They took over our country. We ended all catch and release. We shut down asylum fraud. We stopped human trafficking and forged historic agreements to keep illegal aliens on foreign soil. We want them to stay on their soil. Under the Trump administration, if you came in illegally, you were apprehended immediately and you were deported. You went right back. The current administration terminated every single one of those great Trump policies that I put in place to seal the border. I wanted a sealed border. Again, come in, but come in legally. You know how unfair it is? So many people, hundreds of thousands of people, have been working for years to come into our country. And now they see these people pour into our country at levels that are unprecedented. It's so unfair. And we're not going to do it. We're not going to stand for it. They suspended wall construction, ended remain in Mexico. We had a policy, remain in Mexico. You think that was easy to get from the Mexican government? But I said, you must give it to us. If you don't give it to us, there will be repercussions. And they gave it to us, but not easy. Canceled our Safe Third agreements, demolished Title 42, implemented nationwide catch and release. That's catch and release, where we catch them and release them into our country. We catch them and release them into Mexico. There's a slight difference. And took 93, this is the previous administration, 93 executive actions to throw open our border to the world. The entire world is pouring into our country because of this very foolish administration. The greatest invasion in history is taking place right here in our country. They are coming in from every corner of the earth, not just from South America, but from Africa, Asia, the Middle East. They're coming from everywhere. They're coming at levels that we've never seen before. It is an invasion indeed, and this administration does absolutely nothing to stop them. They're coming from prisons. They're coming from jails. They're coming from mental institutions and insane asylums. You know, the press is always on me because I say this. Has anyone seen Silence of the Lambs? The late, great Hannibal Lecter. He'd love to have you for dinner. That's insane asylums. They're emptying out their insane asylums. And terrorists are coming in at numbers that we've never seen before. Bad things are going to happen. Meanwhile, our crime rate is going up, while crime statistics all over the world are going down, because they're taking their criminals and they're putting them into our country. A certain country, and I happen to like the president of that country very much, but he's been getting great publicity because he's a wonderful shepherd of the country. He says how well the country's doing because their crime rate is down. And he said he's training all of these rough people. They're rough. He's training them. And I've been reading about this for 2 years. I think, oh, that's wonderful. Let's take a look at it. But then I realized he's not training them. He's sending all of his criminals, his drug dealers, his people that are in jails, he's sending them all to the United States. And he's different in that he doesn't say that. He's trying to convince everybody what a wonderful job he does in running the country. Well, he doesn't do a wonderful job. And by the way, if I ran one of the countries, many countries from all over, I would be worse than any of them. I would have had the place totally emptied out already. But we become a dumping ground for the rest of the world, which is laughing at us. They think we're stupid. And they can't believe that they're getting away with what they're getting away with, but they're not going to be getting away with it for long. That's what I can tell you. In Venezuela, Caracas, high crime. Caracas, Venezuela, really a dangerous place, but not anymore. Because in Venezuela, crime is down 72%. In fact, if they would ever win this election, I hate to even say that, we will have our next Republican convention in Venezuela because it will be safe. Our cities will be so unsafe, we will not be able to have it there. In El Salvador, murders are down by 70%. Why are they down? Now, he would have you convinced that because he's trained murderers to be wonderful people. No. They're down because they're sending their murderers to the United States of America. This is going to be very bad. And bad things are going to happen, and you're seeing it happen all the time. That's why, to keep our families safe, the Republican platform promises to launch the largest deportation operation in the history of our country. Even larger than that of President Dwight D. Eisenhower from many years ago. You know, he was a moderate, but he believed very strongly in borders. He had the largest deportation operation we've ever had. Just recently, I spoke to the grieving mother of Jocelyn Nungary, a wonderful woman, a precious 12-year-old girl from Houston who last month was tied up, assaulted, and strangled to death after walking to the convenience store just a block away from her house. Her body was dumped near the side of the road in a shallow creek, found by some onlookers who couldn't believe what they had witnessed. Charged with Jocelyn's heinous murder are 2 illegal aliens from Venezuela who came across our border, were in custody, and were then released into the country by this horrible, horrible administration that we have right now. I also met recently with the heartbroken mother and sister of Rachel Morin. Rachel was a 37-year-old mom of 5 beautiful children who was brutally raped and murdered while out on a run. She wanted to keep herself in good shape. It was very important to her. She was murdered. The monster responsible first killed another woman in El Salvador before he was led into America by the White House. This White House let them in. He then attacked a 9-year-old girl and her mother in a home invasion in Los Angeles before murdering Rachel in Maryland. Traveled all throughout the country, doing tremendous damage. Rachel's mother will never be the same. I spent time with her. She will never be the same. I've also met with the wonderful family of Laken Riley, the brilliant 22-year-old nursing student. She was so proud of being first in her class, who was out for a jog on the campus of the University of Georgia when she was assaulted, beaten, and horrifically killed. Yet another American life was stolen by a criminal alien set free by this administration. And these were incredible people we're talking about. These were incredible people who died. Tonight, America, this is my vow. I will not let these killers and criminals into our country. I will keep our sons and daughters safe. As we bring security to our streets, we will help bring stability to the world. I was the first president in modern times to start no new wars. You know, we were the toughest. We were the most respected.
It's true.
And you saw this. Hungry, strong country run by a very powerful, tough leader. He's a tough guy. Press doesn't like him because he's tough. And he came out recently. They were asking him at an interview, the whole world is exploding. What's happening? What's going on? Viktor Orban, Prime Minister of Hungary, very tough man. He said, I don't want people coming into my country and blowing up our shopping centers and killing people. But they said to him, tell us what's going wrong, what's happening, what is it? He said, there's only one way you're going to solve it. You got to bring President Trump back to the United States because he kept everybody at bay. He used a word I wouldn't use because I can't use that word, because you'd say it was braggadocious. The press would say he was a braggart. I'm not a braggart. But Viktor Orban said it. He said Russia was afraid of him. China was afraid of him. Everybody was afraid of him. Nothing was going to happen. The whole world was at peace. And now the world is blowing up around us. All of these things that you read about were not going to happen. Under President Bush, Russia invaded Georgia. Under President Obama, Russia took Crimea. Under the current administration, Russia is after all of Ukraine. Under President Trump, Russia took nothing. We defeated 100% of ISIS in Syria and Iraq, something that was said to take 5 years, sir. It'll take 5 years, sir. We did it in a matter of a couple of months. We have a great military. Our military is not woke. It's just some of the fools on top that are woke. I got along very well. North Korea, Kim Jong-un, I got along very well with him. The press hated when I said that. How could you get along with him? Well, you know, it's nice to get along with somebody who has a lot of nuclear weapons or otherwise, isn't it? See, in the old days, they'd say, that's a wonderful thing. Now they say, how can you possibly do that? But no, I got along with him, and we stopped the missile launches from North Korea. Now North Korea is acting up again, but when we get back, I get along with him. He'd like to see me back, too. I think he misses me, if you want to know the truth. Our opponents inherited a world at peace and turned it into a planet of war. We're in a planet of war. Look at that attack on Israel. Look at what's happening with Ukraine. The cities are just bombed out. How can people live like that where buildings, massive buildings, are falling to the ground? It began to unravel with the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, the worst humiliation in the history of our country. We have never had a humiliation like that. 13 heroic U.S. service members were tragically and needlessly killed. 45 others were horrifically wounded. Nobody ever talks about them. No arms, no legs, face explosions, horrifically wounded. And by the way, we have a man in this room who's running for the U.S. Senate from a great state, Nevada, named Sam Brown, who paid the ultimate price. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Sam. Thank you. He paid the biggest price probably ever paid by anybody that is running for office, and I think he's going to do great. He's running against a person that is not good, not respected, a total lightweight. But Sam, I think, paid, really, we were talking about it with some of the senators that are working so hard for Sam, but he paid the biggest price of any senator ever to run for the Senate. I don't think anybody's ever what he did. He was a real hero, a really great person. And he's running, and I hope that everybody gets out and votes for Sam Brown.
We need that House and Senate, folks, that's for sure.
And we also left behind $85 billion worth of military equipment, along with many American citizens were left behind. Many, many American citizens, emboldened by that disaster. Russia invaded Ukraine. They saw this group of people that were incompetent. We took the soldiers out first. No, we're going to take the soldiers out second. If they would have followed my plan, we had a great plan. But the plan only kicked in if they did everything perfectly. And they weren't doing things perfectly, so we said it doesn't kick in. You know, 18 months in Afghanistan, we didn't have one, so they were killing them left and right, snipers. And I spoke to the head of the Taliban. You've heard this story. Abdul, still there, still the head of the Taliban. The press got on me. Why would you speak to him? I said, because that's where the killing is. I don't have to speak to somebody that has nothing to do with it. And I told him, don't ever do that. Don't ever do that again. Don't ever, ever do that again. You've got to stop. Because during the Obama administration, many great people and soldiers, but a lot of soldiers were being killed from long distance. I said, if you keep doing that, you're going to be hit harder than anybody's ever been hit by a country before. And he said, I understand, Your Excellency. He called me Your Excellency. I wonder if he calls the other guy Your Excellency. I doubt it. The other guy gave him everything. I mean, what kind of a deal was that? He walked out, gave him everything. Do you know that right now Afghanistan is one of the largest sellers of weapons in the world? They're selling the brand new, beautiful weapons that we gave them. But think of it. He actually said to me, but why do you show me a picture of my home? I said, you'll have to ask your people or one of your wives. But he could figure it out. And for 18 months, we had not one attack on an American soldier by the Taliban. 18 months. And then we had that horrible day where soldiers were killed. I was not there because of a ridiculous election. But we had that horrible attack. And they also gave up Bagram, one of the biggest bases anywhere in the world, air bases anywhere in the world, the longest runways, most powerful, hardened, thickened runways. We gave it up. And I liked it not because of Afghanistan. I liked it because of China. It's 1 hour away from where China makes their nuclear weapons. And you know who has it now? China has it now. We were keeping that. And now China is likewise circling Taiwan, and Russian warships and nuclear submarines are operating 60 miles off the coast in Cuba. Do you know that? No, the press refuses to write about it. If that were me running this country and we had nuclear submarines in Cuba, I will tell you that the headlines every day would be, what's wrong with our president? You don't even hear this. You're not hearing about this. Russia has nuclear submarines and warships 60 miles away, Mr. Congressman, from Miami, by the way, happens to be here. Correct? In Cuba. And that would not be stood for if it were somebody else. They don't want to mention it, but now maybe they will. And the entire world, I tell you this, we want our hostages back, and they better be back before I assume office, or you will be paying a very big price. With our victory in November, the years of war, weakness, and chaos will be over. I don't have wars. I had no wars other than ISIS, which I defeated, but that was a war that was started. We had no wars. I could stop wars with a telephone call. I could stop wars with just a telephone call. If properly stated, it would never start. We will replenish our military and build an Iron Dome missile defense system to ensure that no enemy can strike our homeland. And this great Iron Dome will be built entirely in the USA. We're going to build it in the USA. And Wisconsin, just like I gave you that massive ship contract, and you're doing a very nice job, Governor, right? Thank you, Governor. And they're doing a great job. In fact, I had a little design change, and we gave them a tremendous for essentially what we used to call destroyers. These are now the most beautiful. They look like yachts. I said, we have to take the bow, and we have to make it a little nicer and a little point at the top instead of a flat nose. And the people at the shipyard said, this guy sort of knows what he's doing. We have the most beautiful ships, right, Governor? And everybody sitting over there. And it was a big contract that everybody wanted. I gave it to Wisconsin, but we're going to have a lot of that built right here in the state of Wisconsin and all other states. Israel has an Iron Dome. They have a missile defense system. 342 missiles were shot into Israel, and only one got through a little bit. It was badly wounded. It fell to the ground, but most of them are. And Ronald Reagan wanted this many years ago, but we really didn't have the technology many years ago. Remember, they called it Starship, spaceship, anything to mock him. But he was a very good president, very, very good. But now we have unbelievable technology. And why should other countries have this and we don't? No, we're going to build an Iron Dome over our country, and we're going to be sure that nothing can come and harm our people. And again, from an economic development standpoint, we're going to make it all right here. No more sending it out to other countries in order to help. It's America first. America first. We will unleash the power of American innovation. And as we do, we will soon be on the verge of finding the cures to cancer, Alzheimer's disease, and many other diseases. We're going to get to the bottom of it. You remember this gentleman that I don't want to mention other than one time I had to, because when you say the 10 worst, I had to do it. I didn't want anybody to be confused. But this man said, we're going to find a cure to cancer. Nothing happened. We're going to get to the cure for cancer and Alzheimer's and so many other things. We're so close to doing something great. But we need a leader that will let it be done. We will not have men playing in women's sports. That will end immediately. And we will restore and renovate our nation's once great cities, making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. And that includes our nation's capital, which is a horrible killing field. So many things. They leave from Wisconsin, they go to look at the Washington Monument, they end up getting stabbed, killed, or shot. We will be very soon very proud of our capital, again, Washington, D.C. America is on the cusp of a new golden age, but we will have the courage to seize it. We're going to take it. We're going to make it a current. We're going to bring this into a golden age like never seen before. Remember this, China wants to do it. Japan wants to do it. All of these countries want to do it. We have to produce massive amounts of energy if we're going to produce the new. If you look at some of the things that have been done, and some of the things that we're going to do, but
maybe his greatest
AI
achievement
needs literally twice the electricity that's available now in our country. Can you imagine? But instead, we're spending places where they recharge electric cars. They built 8 chargers at a certain location toward the Midwest. 8 chargers for $9 billion. Think of them as a tank for filling up your gas. Think of it. They spent $9 billion on 8 chargers, 3 of which didn't work. And if you were going to do this all over our country, this crazy electric mandate, if you're going to do this all, and by the way, I'm all for electric. They have their application. But if somebody wants to buy a gas-powered car, gasoline-powered car, or a hybrid, they're going to be able to do it. And we're going to make that change on day one.
It sounds like a free market.
So to conclude, just a few short days ago, my journey with you nearly ended. We know that. And yet, here we are tonight, all gathered together, talking about the future, promise, and a total renewal of a thing we love very much. It's called America. We live in a world of miracles. None of us knows God's plan or where life's adventure will take us. I want to thank Franklin Graham for being here tonight. He's an outstanding man. He wrote me a note recently. I have a lot of respect for him. Sir, I love your storytelling. I think it's great in front of these big rallies. But, sir, please do me one favor. It won't make any difference. Please don't use any foul language. I was a little embarrassed. I said, he said, it won't make any difference. Actually, it does. The story's not quite as good, but I've been very good. The story is not quite as good, to be honest. I've got to have a little talk with Franklin, but he was great. He's a great gentleman. His father was so incredible, Billy Graham. My father used to love taking me to see Billy Graham. My father would take me to see Billy Graham at Yankee Stadium. He had the biggest rallies you've ever seen. He was a good rally guy, too. But he'd get up, and he was a fantastic guy. My father loved Billy Graham. But I love Franklin Graham. I think Franklin's been fantastic, and I'm working so hard to adhere to his note to me. I'm working hard on it, Franklin. But if the events of last Saturday make anything clear, it is that every single moment we have on earth is a gift from God.
Amen.
We have to make the most of every day for the people and for the country that we love. The attacker in Pennsylvania wanted to stop our movement, but the truth is the movement has never been about me. It has always been about you. It's your movement. It's the biggest movement in the history of our country by far.
It's true.
Can't be stopped.
Trump. That is true.
It can't be stopped. It has always been about the hardworking, patriotic citizens of America. For too long, our nation has settled for too little. We settled for too little. We've given everything to other nations, to other people. You have been told to lower your expectations and to accept less for your families. I am here tonight with the opposite message. Your expectations are not big enough. They're not big enough. It is time to start expecting and demanding the best leadership in the world, leadership that is bold, dynamic, relentless, and fearless. We can do that. We are Americans. Ambition is our heritage. Greatness is our birthright. But as long as our energies are spent fighting each other, our destiny will remain out of reach, and that's not acceptable. We must instead take that energy and use it to realize our country's true potential and write our own thrilling chapter of the American story. We can do it together. We will unite. We are going to come together, and success will bring us together. It is a story of love, sacrifice, and so many other things. And remember the word, devotion. It's unmatched devotion. Our American ancestors crossed the Delaware, survived the icy winter at Valley Forge, and defeated a mighty empire to establish our cherished republic. They fought so hard, they lost so many. They pushed thousands and thousands of miles across a dangerous frontier, taming the wilderness to build a life and a magnificent home for their family. They packed their families into covered wagons, trekked across hazardous trails, scaled towering mountains, and braved rivers and rapids to stake their claim on the wide open, new, and very beautiful frontier. When our way of life was threatened, American patriots marched onto the battlefield, raced into enemy strongholds, and stared down death and stared down those enemies to keep alive the flame of freedom. At Yorktown, Gettysburg, and Midway, they joined the roll call of immortal heroes. So many heroes, so many great, great people. And we have to cherish those people. We can't forget those people. We have to cherish those people. And building monuments to those great people is a good thing, not a bad thing. They saved our country. No challenge was too much. No hardship was too great. No enemy was too fierce. Together, these patriots soldiered on and endured, and they prevailed because they had faith in each other, faith in their country, and above all, they had faith in their God. Just like our ancestors, we must now come together, rise above past differences. Any disagreements have to be put aside and go forward, united as one people, one nation, pledging allegiance to one great, beautiful, I think it's so beautiful, American flag.
There it is.
Tonight I ask for your partnership, for your support, and I am humbly asking for your vote. I want your vote. Going to make our country great again. Every day I will strive to honor the trust you have placed in me, and I will never, ever let you down. I promise that. I will never let you down. To all of the forgotten men and women who have been neglected, abandoned, and left behind, you will be forgotten no longer. We will press forward, and together we will win, win, win. Win, 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 win. Nothing will sway us, nothing will slow us, and no one will ever stop us. No matter what dangers come our way, no matter what obstacles lie in our path, we will keep striving toward our shared and glorious destiny, and we will not fail. We will not fail. Together, we will save this country, we will restore the republic, and we will usher in the rich and wonderful tomorrows that our people so truly deserve. America's future will be bigger, better, bolder, brighter, happier, stronger, freer, greater, and more united than ever before.
Can't be the only one seeing a different Donald Trump today. Not the message, just the demeanor.
And quite simply put, we will very quickly make America great again. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Wisconsin. God bless you. God bless you, Wisconsin, and God bless the United States of America, our great country. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
All right, so I'm not sure if I still got Jack with me. I'm sure I do. The next president of the United States, folks. Ain't nothing stopping the Trump train, man. Nothing stopping the train. Here comes Jack.
Hey. That was something. That was really something.
I mean, you could see he's a different man, bro. He really is. I really believe that. I could be reading it wrong. I mean, it's not like when I say different, I mean it in a good way. I just mean like it took the Lord Jesus Christ to humble this man.
Yeah.
Like that's the only thing that would have humbled this man. And if any, for all the policy and all the mission and all the drive and everything he has going for him, everything that everybody loves about him, it was the humility that everybody felt he could use a touch on. And I think what he got last weekend was some humility.
Yeah.
And I think, he's not coming out, super humble or anything like overdoing it. But you can see that he's just quieter when he talks. He's got a quieter tone. He's more,
Well, it's become deadly serious.
Exactly. It's like changes things, right? It's like right. And one thing he's always been good with, even before the bullet, like he's always been good about, is just like calling the calling victims and like going to funerals and reaching out to people and doing all those, they're no small things, but they get related as small. They get overlooked a lot of times, but like he never misses an opportunity to do that. Like he never, when he's getting on Air Force One, like he'll never not stop and salute. If he comes across, a group of police officers, he'll pull over and and say hello, and just like just little things like that, where like even though he is a billionaire, he's never been in the billionaires club. Like like Trump Enterprises is privately owned, right? It doesn't have a major stockholder of BlackRock, right? It doesn't have Vanguard and State Street to answer to. Like he's always just been, you know what? This is my real estate empire. I built this empire. I took $1 million and turned it into $1 billion enterprise. Like I did that, and go ahead. Yeah. And that's dude, the guy's, and it's not like he's never failed, right? Like we all know, and I don't even know that. I mean, Taj Mahal was kind of a fail. Taj Mahal was a little bit of a, like, some of the Atlantic City situation in general just never panned out to be. I think his vision, as was the vision of other hotel builders there, was that it would one day be the Vegas of the East Coast, and it just never quite panned out. Like people, there were too many people who wouldn't sell their homes. There's still the boardwalk's still sketchy. Like it's still, yeah. But hey, E for effort. And yeah, he did file bankruptcy to restructure, but like it wasn't like he was filing bankruptcy, and going, like, companies file bankruptcy all the time and to restructure and reorganize. And he realized that he couldn't carry that anymore and was like, I'm out. And it is what it is. Exactly. That's kind of the point that I was trying to make. So I appreciate the fact that you articulated that. It got me off the Atlantic City story, because I was sitting there thinking to myself, why am I talking about Atlantic City when this man just freaking went through all this, and this RNC convention, which I didn't, to be honest with you, I watched more of this. There was a lot of speeches I missed, but I catch them later in, like, on social media and other places. But like I've never been a convention guy. Like this is the first time I've ever, and I've been deep into politics forever. This is the first time I've ever actually wanted to watch a convention. Like this was it. Like never before in my life have I been, like, to hear George Bush or Clinton or any, well, that would be the Democrat, Bush, Doyle, and whatever. Never have I been like, oh, I gotta see this. Mitt Romney, right? Like, I gotta see this, man. Oh, these speeches are amazing. Like, I never once did that, but this one, I was definitely like I wanna engage this. Hey, Jack, your audio is not coming. No one can hear your audio. I just got a text message from someone saying your audio, no bueno. Let me see. Let me just check on my trusty handy dandy smartphone here. I could use this thing. I push the buttons and things happen here. It's pretty freaking amazing. Like right at the part where I'm getting the text. Oh, I'm past the part. No. Well, there always is. There's a little bit of lag, but nope, we can't hear you, Jack. Your audio's not there. Yeah, there's no. Yeah, so so that's you saying can see him, can't hear him on Facebook at least. Yeah, you're not. Your audio is not. I could hear you, but no one else can hear you. Yeah, go ahead. I'll finish it up, and then we'll get back on again and kind of do a recap of the speech and. Jack, it was good having you back, man. I a lot of technical issues on my end because I haven't had a guest in a while, but it was good having you back. I'll get all the tech stuff worked out, and we'll. I got the comments went wiggy, everything went a little nuts. I got a lot of moving parts going on here with this OBS, so but we'll definitely hit this up again. You let me know when you're available. We'll just pop on out of nowhere and cover this thing. All right, brother. Be good. All right. So sorry you guys couldn't hear Jack. I don't know what happened to his audio there, but just looking at the speech, and it is getting late, so I don't want to make this too long as to when I do this. We could do this in a separate video, but at the same time, I think what I got out of this speech from Trump was a different Donald Trump. Now, I don't know if people share that feeling with me. Y'all can comment if you do. But what I saw was a different Donald Trump. I mean, in a good way though, not like oh shoot, what's wrong with him, in a good way. I think I think the Lord has humbled this man. I mean, that's what I think. That's what I saw. The solemnness of the speech, the way he was talking. There were moments where you were seeing flashes of of the Trump we all know, but there were also moments where it was like he, that moment changed him. And I keep calling it a Reagan moment, where, for those that are not aware, when Reagan got hit and then survived it, it changed him. He felt like God had a plan for him and that there's a reason why he survived. And that reason was to fulfill God's plan. And he talks about this, Reagan, and that plan, his purpose was to end communism, and he went ahead and fulfilled that purpose. And so it's encouraging to hear, because I think we all felt, as much as we may like Trump, there was always that element of just a little bit of humility. If he just had a little bit of humbleness, right, just a little bit, and he has it now. I think that's what, I think that's what really came of this. When God touches you, you don't brush his hand off, right? And I think that's what Trump is going through right now. And I think living through something like that will make anybody go change and feel that way. Even if you're already, a heavy person of faith, it still touches you in a way where why? Like how? how did I mean? I did, last week we did that slow mo, that still frame of him, just making a little head turn at the right moment, and being missed by that much was just, and then the aftermath is all, well, this sniper didn't do this and that guy didn't do that and this, but like the focus here is like, holy smokes, like what are the odds of him turning his head that little bit? And it's almost like it was meant to touch him, like it wasn't meant for him to be unscathed by it. Like it was that's the way it felt to me, was like that nip of the ear was, was a reminder almost, like, look, you're here by the grace of God. You're going to continue to be here by the grace of God. You've got a job to do. Go do it. And I think even people who aren't people of faith, if they're being honest with themselves, there's a part of themselves that's second guessing and saying, I don't know, right? Like maybe not the most hardcore Marxist psycho. Those people are the ones going out trying to make jokes or saying it's a conspiracy theory because the bandage on his ear is too big, like those coconuts, whatever. But I think even people who weren't very religious their whole life, and not outwardly attacking God, but not actively, speaking out either. I think those people looked at this and said, oh man, because we all know this, like, regardless of this narrative that, oh, well, it's all the rhetoric from Biden and the left that caused this kid to, like, that's nonsense. This had nothing to do with rhetoric. The rhetoric's not even all that crazy. The status quo. Everybody's calling each other Hitler. This is like status quo for an American election. We all know what happened, right? I mean, this attacking, they ran out of cards, right? They're playing cards. They ran out. They got no aces, right? They got a mixed bunch of garbage, and that's it. And there's no cards left in the deck. They've tried smearing. They've tried everything they can try, and there's just nothing left in the bag of tricks. Tucker talked about this months ago. People acted like, oh my God, Tucker said, like, when we all knew that it was 100% real what he was saying. It's like, there's nothing left for you to do this, man. And when they convicted him and his poll numbers still went up and more people started donating after the conviction, because it's becoming blatant, it's becoming obvious, and the media keeps acting like these things are all just individual things. Like, well, the New York thing, that's a state issue. And really? So there's like 6 state issues individually that just happen to happen against a campaign, during a campaign against a political opponent, of which all 6 states or whatever many states have these charges going, that they're all just happen to be in the same political party? Like, I one thing this week taught me is why I don't watch Fox News. I haven't watched it in years. I've been watching it this week because it's a steady stream. I'm just waiting for something to break kind of thing. I'd have it on in the background and wait for some new footage to come out, or new, because I know there's a ton of footage out there that for this assassination that hasn't been released yet. I see it popping up on social media every day. And the fact that I even had it on in the background just kept reminding me why I never watch it. It's just one pundit after another pretending like the issue is Biden's rhetoric and this bullseye nonsense, which everyone knows that's not what he meant. Like, this gaslighting from all sides just kills me. It just kills me. And I can't deal with it anymore. But yet I still need to keep something on. I'm not subscribing to Newsmax. It's more of the same nonsense. I mean, they're better than Fox, but it's still not on the level from an informational perspective as like a Glenn Beck or a Bongino or somebody along those lines. They're just not on that level. News organizations, all of them, are just not on that level anymore. OAN, I used to subscribe to, they're just cheerleaders. Like, it's not that I disagree with stuff that they say. It's just that I know what they're going to say before they say it. But like, this narrative that's being pushed, and what's crazy is, if you're like me, you knew this was going to be the narrative. Because it's the same narrative over and over and over again. And with respect to shootings, all three shootings had the same narrative: a lone gunman, right? Kennedy, Reagan, and now Trump. A lone gunman, right? In most cases, he's dead. The Reagan guy lived to tell his Jodie Foster story. Like, it's just so bizarre, and it's so insulting to the intelligence of the American people that no one's going to act like there are no journalists investigating this. I mean, there are citizen journalists out there investigating it, but they're like 40 years ago. Well, I guess not, right? Because they didn't do it for Kennedy either. Actually, they did. They tried to investigate Kennedy. The tech was so bad back then, though, and so limited that, Deep State had a much easier time keeping that stuff hidden. But, like, the fact of the matter is right now, there are at least, there was probably a phone in every hand shooting this thing, or at least every family had one phone shooting this thing just to see President Trump. And so when the gunman shot, like, there's so many different angles to be had that we haven't seen yet. And so far, everything we have seen looks pretty damn grimy for the sake of for the case of the government. And for the government to come back, another thing that they keep calling it incompetence. I'm like, do we really believe, like, oh, it's so grossly incompetent? Yeah, it's so grossly incompetent that there's no way this was incompetence. There's no way. I'll buy the fact that these DEI hires, which clearly we had a DEI dream team, around the president at that time, right? Kudos to the guys who ran up and fell on him. And I know Trump was, and again, he's not trying to be, he's trying to just say thank you to people and be humble and whatever. He's not trying to dog the Secret Service. He's been with them for, they've been on his detail forever. He has relationships with these folks. But come on now. The guys that were right in front of him, fine. They probably knew nothing. But the whole thing, the way it went down, the pre-work and everything else, come on. There are serious leadership issues in this country. And one of the biggest things Donald Trump can do quickly is start to throw a wrecking ball through these leaderships. Well, the head of the CIA, head of all the freaking DARPA, everything else, just wrecking ball. And I just hope he does it. May God hold his hand while he picks these freaking replacements, because we're gonna need that. We're gonna need that. So I'm gonna try and get Jack back on. Maybe this weekend. I don't know what his schedule looks like, but maybe next Thursday. I don't know. He's got to get up early. He goes to the gym now, like 5:30 in the morning, and there's a 3-hour time difference. So that complicates things. So maybe the weekend I can squeeze him on, and we can do a little reaction to the to this speech. But I thought it was a great speech overall, though. I thought he did a great job. It was kind of what I expected. Somber, no attacking, right? He stated out the problems, but he wasn't straight out attacking people. No nicknames or anything like that. And that's going to be interesting too. Do the nicknames stick around, or is that something that's going to go to the wayside? So we'll see, right? We'll see. But thank you all for watching. Sorry for the audio problems. I'm glad we got it up right before he spoke, so we got the whole speech. If you're watching on Facebook, they shut me down in the middle. I didn't notice it. I'm in the OBS studio, and I went over to the Facebook studio, and they had a paused your stream. I had to click something to get it going again. I don't know what that looked like on your end, but it didn't feel good. So if you got to stop in the middle of that, you're probably not still watching because you wanted to watch the stream. But nonetheless, I'll see you hopefully this weekend. If not next Thursday, I'm out.